Summer will start when? January 3rd or 4th?
Day after Christmas. I live it one day at a time, you know.
Patrick's Day stuff up.
Yeah,
Okay,
I know.
good
I will not
stuff.
go that far, right?
Well,
Good luck.
look, keep it lit. Why not? I'm all for it. All right, Lee. See you tomorrow morning. Anyone else got their Halloween decorations up? I don't know, Lee. I think you could be an outlier there. But anyway, it's all good. As you say, as long as everyone's happy, sure, isn't it what it's all about? Just approaching a minute past 9. Let's get a news update. Michaela Clark joins us. Hi, Michaela.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A Donegal man has appeared in court in Northern Ireland facing 6 charges relating to allegations of historic sexual abuse against 2 former pupils. 79-year-old Patrick Gerard Sharkey, who now lives in France with an address at Route de Lenards, has pleaded not guilty to all charges against him at Antrim Crown Court. The charges relate to alleged incidents between 1992 and 1998. He's been released on bail with the trial set to get underway on February the 13th, 2023. The Education Minister is due before an Oireachtas committee today over issues facing the new free school transport scheme. Minister Norma Foley will take questions from TDs and senators as many parents report not being able to access bus places for their children. The scheme was introduced in an effort to help families cope with the rising costs of living, but the number of places available has been outstripped by demand. Many children in Donegal have been left stranded on a number of occasions as a result of the capacity issues. Labour Party education spokesperson Aidan O'Riordan says although the scheme is welcome, it was poorly implemented. Concerns have been raised about the potential presence of a fatal fungus in trees on the Business Park Road in Letterkenny. Councillor Donald Coyle raised concerns about the presence of the ash dieback in ash trees along the road after observing visible signs of the fungus on the trees. The council has confirmed they will carry out an inspection. Councillor Coyle says if the fungus is present, the trees will have to be uprooted, but the first priority is to confirm that is the case.
So the issue now is that we have quite a number of people who have always gotten tickets for their children who are not in possession of those tickets this year. A huge number of people obviously applied to the scheme who wouldn't have done so otherwise. I've heard of cases of families who just applied for the scheme because it was free, don't intend to use the ticket, might just use it in an emergency situation. And so it hasn't worked.
And that was Labour Party education spokesperson Aidan O'Riordan talking about the bus capacity issue. Finally, police in Derry say they are growing increasingly concerned for a missing man. 72-year-old Cornelius O'Connor was last seen by family in the city on Monday. He's described as having short grey hair and is believed to have been wearing green trousers and a beige coat. Anyone who has any information which could assist police in locating Cornelius is asked to contact them at Strand Road. For weather now, rather cloudy with rain and drizzle developing this afternoon. Highest temperatures of 15 or 16 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
Oh, Amy, my little one. I ask myself a million questions every day. When will you give me your first smile? How much sleep do you need? How can I help you and your big brother to get along?
At the HSE's mychild.ie and in the free My Child books, you'll find the answers you need from doctors, midwives, public health nurses, dietitians and lots of other experts. mychild.ie. Expert advice for every step of pregnancy, baby and toddler health. From the HSE.
The 9 till noon show with St Eunan's GA Club Development Draw. €40,000 in prizes. First prize, a Hyundai Kona Car, plus 9 other great prizes. Tickets now available online at steunansgadraw.com or any club member.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning. It's 4 minutes past 9. You're very welcome along to the 9 till noon show on this Wednesday, the 21st of September 2022. I do hope you're well and I hope you'll stick with us. A lot to get through between now and 12. We want you involved in the conversation as always though. WhatsApps and texts to 086 60 25,000. And get your phone out and text us if you've never texted a radio show before and get your views heard. Why not? All views are equal. 07491 25,000, that is the telephone line. Caroline back taking your calls with Donna Marie today. And also you can email comments at highlandradio.com. And if you want to watch the show, if that suits you, wherever you're listening to us today, hop onto our website, highlandradio.com. You'll see a Watch Now tab. It's there live for you right now, or on YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland, or across our Facebook pages. And feel free to say hello and chat to us there as well. Right, let's get to the newspapers this Wednesday. Let's start with the Donegal Post. And when we think of the difficulty in finding student accommodation, our thoughts usually turn to Dublin or Galway, where this has been a long-standing problem. But even students planning on studying in Donegal and Sligo are finding it impossible to find accommodation. Those who have secured places in ATU Donegal campuses in Killybegs and Letterkenny may not be able to take places as a result. More inside the Donegal Post on that story today. The Inish Times tells us that Gardaí have begun an investigation into Donegal County Council's purchase of 5 houses in Buncrana, which was the subject of an independent review earlier this year. A senior officer from outside the county, the Donegal division that is, has visited Inishowen in recent days as part of the probe. Confirming the investigation to the Inish Times, a Garda spokesperson said Gardaí are conducting an investigation into an alleged incident of fraud in the Donegal area. No further details are available at this time. Investigations are ongoing, the statement concluded there. The Finn Valley Voice this morning. He's a football manager, but visually he could pass as an avant-garde film director. He's a mathematics teacher, but he can just as easily turn his hands to Liszt and Mozart on the grand piano. Who could we be talking about? It's Ollie Hogan. He's the manager who has kept Finn Harps in the Premier Division for the best part of a decade, and Ollie Hogan is the winner of the 2021 ASTI Achievement Award in recognition of his contribution to his school community and to sport in Ireland, or Sporting Ireland, sorry. That's the front of the Finn Valley Voice, worth a read there as well. On to the Nationals now. Let's go to the Irish Independent. And workers will save at least €500 a year on average under budget plans to expand income bands for the highest rate of tax. And unfortunately, there's a story later on in the newspapers which pretty much wipes that out on one essential spend that we have. And also the caveat here is that €500 saving is based on you earning around about 50,000. How many of us are on that type of money? Well, Finance Minister Pascal Donoghue is set to increase the 40% income tax band by $2,500, meaning workers will not have to pay the higher rate on any earnings below $39,300. The move will lead to significant savings for taxpayers, with a single person earning $50,000 a year taking home at least an extra $500 a year under the plan agreed by the coalition parties. The $2,500 increase in the income tax band would be the highest in more than a decade and go some way to achieving Fine Gael's pledge to make the entry point for the higher rate of tax $50,000. Changes to tax credits are also expected to put more money in workers' pockets on top of the tax band changes. And it's interesting that newspapers now print the positive news from the government without challenging it or pointing out any reality here about how, how many of us really are earning $50,000 a year, or how many, you know what I mean? It's literally printed as if Fine Gael had written it. I'm not saying the Irish Independent's a mouthpiece for the government or anything like that, don't get me wrong, but it's just strange that it's just published as is, here's the good news, Fine Gael have achieved what they want to achieve, and so on and so forth. It'll be interesting to see what the approach will be in newspapers with the change of government as well, to see if the way stories are written changes. Meanwhile, negotiations relating to the introduction of a new tax credit for renters, as well as talks on a reduction in tax paid by landlords on rented income, are ongoing, we're told. All right, on to the Irish Times now, and Taoiseach Micheál Martin has accused Sinn Féin of deliberately not telling the truth in relation to the government's new pension proposals. It comes after Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou McDonald described the plans as a scam, and that it was a Trojan horse designed by Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael to move the pension age to 70 by stealth. Mr Martin said in the Dáil, people get very anxious and very worried when politicians tell barefaced lies, and that politicians should not do so. He said the pension age would remain at 66 and accused Ms MacDonald of not telling the truth in her presentation of the government's latest plans. Now, I said yesterday, and I'm not privy to what Sinn Féin think or what the government think or anyone thinks, but if you incentivise working to 70, right, and, you in the next budget make it, even more attractive to work to 70, it makes it much easier down the line to sort of, 66 is kind of optional, 67 really, but the retirement age is 70, and that's what I sort of was trying to explained yesterday, but it seems to align with some of the conversation that's happening at a political level. But as I say, I was not privy to that in advance. Earlier, Minister for Social Protection Heather Humphreys said voters gave their verdict on increasing the pension age in the last election, which must be respected, announcing a range of pension reforms which will see a sliding scale introduced, with those working up to the age of 70 enjoying higher pension payments. Ms Humphreys said a clear message had been sent by voters when raising the pension age became a major election debate. But as I say, really, I think 70 is going to be the target, and it's going to be optional if you like, but you're going to be less well off. And people probably will think, well, you know what, I'm going to have to crack on to 70 because I can't afford it at 66 or 67. But anyway, we shall see. The Irish Daily Mail this morning: a teacher who deceived 3 special needs assistants in her school out of just over 2,000 has been remanded on bail pending sentence. Dublin District Court heard that Kim Moran had spiralled out of control, leading to a €40,000 gambling debt. Moran, 30, of Ballymagowan Letterkenny, pleaded guilty to deception to gain sums totalling €2,032, as well as theft charges. Judge Brian Smith commissioned the probation service to draft a restorative justice report. 3 charges relating to deceiving SNAs who transferred money electronically via the Revolut service for goods never received. It happened at a national school where Moran worked with them in North Dublin in September and October last year. She also admitted to stealing €15 worth of fuel from a service station in Dublin around the same time. Judge Smith noted she had repaid the victims. And obviously, this is no disrespect to the victims, but obviously was facing her own challenges, and hopefully that can draw a line under that and move forward. Right, the Irish Daily Star this morning: most vulnerable won't be cut off. This is for those of you who may be genuinely concerned as to how you might pay your electricity bill, and I think it'll be quite a few people. Households who are struggling with rising electricity and gas prices will not be cut off this winter, the Utilities Commission has confirmed. A moratorium has been put in place between December and February, with further time given for those most vulnerable. The Commission for Regulation of Utilities confirmed the news to the Oireachtas Commission on Environment and Climate Action yesterday. They also said that anyone who's connected to a medical device can never be disconnected if a bill is not paid, while those who are vulnerable due to age or health cannot be disconnected between October and March this year. So if you're old and vulnerable, you can be disconnected after March. Is that what they're saying as well? Well, CRU chairperson Aoife McIlvilly acknowledged that many are already struggling to pay the rising costs. So just to be really clear, if you can prove that you are vulnerable, you won't be cut off this winter, and you certainly will not be cut off if you have medical equipment, which I presume would extend to the likes of hoists and stuff like that, which relies on electricity. So for someone out there maybe listening, that might make their morning a little bit more tolerable. So we were talking about how, you might be at least €500 better off if you're lucky enough to earn 50 grand a year. But in one foul swoop, that is wiped out by the rising cost of groceries. In the Irish Daily Mirror, families will pay nearly €800 extra for their groceries this year because of the soaring cost of living, official figures have revealed. Food inflation is running at 11%, the highest it's ever been since Kantar started tracking grocery prices in 2008. The research firm's consultants predict the average cost of a trolley of groceries over the year will go from €6,985 to €7,753. That's an increase of €768. The food inflation has been driven by the rising cost of staples such as bread, cheese, cereals and milk. A basket of these and some other cupboard essentials selected by the researchers have gone up by 19.5%. Bread's up 20%, ham's up 12%, while milk's up 26%, and which is kind of interesting because we produce all of that milk here. Of course, there's rising input costs, but you would imagine that milk is one of the things we'd have some level of control on. But I think that's linked, is it not, to European prices or something along those lines? But, is there any excuse for milk and yogurts going up when we produce the raw materials here? It doesn't make a great deal of sense to me. Of course, who's to say, unfortunately, and I wish I could bring better news, and we have positive stuff coming up over the next 3 hours as well, but, obviously what with President Putin's announcement overnight, which we'll talk about a little later on, or this morning, should I say, maybe things are going to get worse before they get better. Here's hoping that's not the case. Right. A coffee shop owner isn't taking casual dressing lying down and has implemented a strict ban on pyjamas. Ciara Burke introduced the dress code policy at Sage and Stone in Duleek, County Meath, after 2 women came for brekkie and jammies, in jammies and slippers. Now, have you ever or would you ever go into a shop or cafe in your pyjamas and slippers? A lot of the stuff is casual wear now. It's not really like, the traditional pyjamas, but she didn't like 2 women coming in their slippers and pyjamas. She told The Sun, "There's a time and a place for everything, and wearing pyjamas out for breakfast is not one of them." Outspoken Ciara's had a divided reaction online for her firm's stance on the eatery and gift shop. But we live in a world now where people express themselves in so many different ways. Should a business really be concerning itself with what it perceives to be bedwear? I mean, someone might say, look, I wear pyjamas as day wear. I don't know. It feels like a story that is about 5 or 10 years old here. But anyway, what do you guys think? Do you back this woman? Was she right to ban people from wearing pyjamas in her cafeteria? Now, there's not a massive amount of people, and I would say if her cafe was absolutely wedged with people in pyjamas, she might not make a complaint. But the fact that 2 women turned up in their slippers and pyjamas, well, that was enough. She's banned them outright. She's put a sign up saying, "No pyjamas allowed." It's her business. She can do what she wants. But do you agree? 086 60 25,000. WhatsApps and text that number, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. That and anything else which you wish to talk about this morning.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Would you like to win a Hyundai Kona Car? Well, that's the first prize in the St. Eunan's GA Club Development Draw, who are sponsors of this week's 9 till noon show. There's 9 other great prizes, and tickets are now available online at steunensgadraw.com or any club member.
Keep out the cold, cold, cold this winter and ring Fleming for their full range of garage doors, agri doors, insulated doors, milking parlour doors. Fleming, 91 48 234.
Is your Skoda a little older? Pre-loved, perhaps? What adventures, I wonder, did it have in the past? Another family, another life, bright city lights, or a quiet country existence seeing Ireland's best sights? We don't really need your car's story. With a Skoda service, you get a complete vehicle health check, genuine Skoda parts, and free roadside assistance for 12 months.
Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clare Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 97 21 396 or visit dmgmotors.ie.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
As energy costs continue to rise, investing in the energy efficiency of your business becomes increasingly crucial. The SBCI Energy Efficiency Loan Scheme offers low-cost, flexible funding to help SMEs, farmers and fishers invest in energy-efficient equipment like heat pumps, solar panels, LED lighting and electric vehicle charging points to improve the sustainability of your business. Finance amounts range from €10,000 up to €150,000, with repayment terms up to 10 years at a discounted rate. Allowable funding includes term loans, hire purchase and asset finance products. Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at sbci.gov.ie or call 1800 804 482. This is an SBCI initiative with the support of the European Investment Fund.
Make big savings in the final clearance sale at Watson Menswear Letterkenny. Like top label polo shirts, jackets and fleeces, just $24.95. Or get 2 for €40. Casual shirts and knitwear for $29.95. Or 2 for €50. A selection of Super Dry, now half price. There's also 25% off selected suits and many more great savings in every department. In the final clearance sale at Watson Menswear, Main Street, Letterkenny.
Okay, you're welcome back to the programme. We welcome onto it now Minister for Agriculture, Food and the Marine, Charlie McConalogue, speaking to us live from the Ploughing Championships. Good morning, Charlie. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg.
Let's start with the Ploughing Festival. I'd imagine, I remember from my time, a lot of your school classmates would go missing for this week. and a few teachers as well, actually. A lot of people from Donegal used to travel down to the ploughing festival. Is that still the case? What's the attendance like, and are there plenty of Donegal people about?
Yeah, it's still the case. I've definitely spotted a few of those yesterday and this morning as well, Greg. It was good, really good turnout from Donegal here. And of course, for the ploughing, people travel from all over the country. So numbers were very high. I think there was over 90,000 people here yesterday. And the weather was very good, thankfully, and the weather's good today. So I think everybody, like we've seen with many of our local shows over the course of the summer, the great attendance at those, people are delighted to be getting back to what is a more normal type of life again after 2 or 3 years where things weren't happening, and that sense is very much here at the ploughing yesterday and today as well, and again it'll be continuing tomorrow.
It's an opportunity for you, I suppose. I'm not saying you don't take opportunities in other settings, but to speak to members of the farming community. I suppose there's good and bad to that. You get to hear what they've got to say, what they would like to see you addressing, but at the same time, of course, there's going to be some who are unhappy with the way things are at the moment.
It's a really important opportunity, and you get to speak to people from all walks of agriculture and indeed, rural life as well, and to hear about, where things are going well and where there's challenges. So that's pretty invaluable. There hasn't been the same opportunities over the last couple of years for big events like this to actually have that very significant, heavy engagement, and definitely yesterday was very good. I found it very enjoyable, but also very useful, and actually to speak to people in relation to how policy is working out for them, and their views on how it needs to evolve, and particularly as well with the budget next week, people's priorities too. It's a really good opportunity, and I think no matter what walk of life you are the ploughing is good from that point of view, whether you're in a business or a community organisation. Everybody gets that same opportunity actually to assess and engage with people that have different perspectives from themselves, and that makes it very good and very worthwhile.
Okay, also off the back of a series of meetings on Monday as it relates to housing. We'll talk about social housing at the moment as it relates to the defective block scheme and the crisis that's facing many people in this country. What progress, if any, was made at this meeting on Monday to get this scheme moving and to get it accessible for people?
Yeah, well, I spent all day on Monday actually meeting with the county management in Lifford, and led a meeting along with Senator Niall Blaney and our team of Fianna Fáil councillors from across the county, specifically on the issue of MICA and social housing, to work to ensure that we make real progress in both. In relation to MICA in particular, the challenge, as we all know, is the number of applications that are there that need to be, clarity needs to be brought on. We've had about 13 homes across the county that have now been fixed. There's about 50 which are underway or getting underway, but there's about 400 applications which are awaiting an answer and clarity in relation to the type of remediation option that will be approved for them. And the key objective of the meeting between myself and Senator Blaney and the team of councillor team was to ensure that we can bring the heads of all of those in the council together with the Department of Housing to make sure that there's answers in that quickly. And I know there's been engagement over the last a few weeks between both. The Department of Housing have sought some additional information from the council in the last few days, and the council are now going to provide that to the Department of Housing, hopefully next week, to crystallise that. And I hope coming out of that we then have as much clarity as possible, so that we can proceed, and that the council will be in a position to proceed in relation to giving decisions on as many applications as they can. Obviously, there's the outstanding issue in relation to the issue of pyrite and other deleterious materials other than mica and pyrite, which has evolved over the last year or so as testing has happened, and which there's further scientific advice awaited on. But I certainly strongly believe that there's a number of applications which there can be decisions made on in the very short term if the council and the Department of Housing agree.
Without that information you just talked of, how? I mean, why would anyone with a defective concrete block house want to proceed in this scheme without all of the scientific data as it might relate to, I don't know, internal walls or foundations, for example? Who in their right mind would want to progress through this scheme until we have all the scientific facts? And as a state, spending taxpayers' money, as we were reminded of, why would the state or the government or the council want to progress any of these remediations until such time as we knew all the scientific facts? It wouldn't make much sense, would it?
No. I think it has the science and the engineering advice has to be what makes the decision here. And in terms of the remediation option that is made for houses, it has to be one that lasts a lifetime. So the remediation option that's granted has to be right. And there isn't. You're correct, Greg, that in relation to the scientific advice around and engineering advice around Pyrotite, which the National Standards Authority of Ireland have been commissioned earlier this year with providing that, and have indicated it'll be early next year before they have it. Until that's there, it won't be possible to make a decision on a good number of those applications. But
well, all of them really, no? Is it not really all of them?
In relation to the principle of doing the worst first, and in relation to those that will be demolition, we need to get answers on those so that as many of those that are in the system actually can get approvals and move on. And as many of those that can actually get an answer.
But you were very clear, Minister, on this programme on a number of occasions, even when it kind of seemed somewhat at odds with what was happening nationally, you were very clear that if the science shows that foundations need to be included, then foundations will be included.
Yes, and certainly all of the engineering advice so far, and this is something we discussed in detail with the Council at our meeting on Monday as well, is that there isn't an issue with foundations. That's obviously something that's going to be monitored as each application proceeds as well, and in terms of the actual work being carried out, that being assessed. But the key thing is...
So just to be clear on that, and sorry to talk across you, Charlie, to be clear on that, so we have been boring, we've been boring foundations of houses, sending those bores off for analysis, determining what the makeup of that concrete is, and determining that we don't have an issue with foundations. When was that work being undertaken?
Well, in terms of all of the testing that's taken place, and the committee hearing and the Oireachtas would have discussed this as well with the engineers involved there, and also in terms of any testing taking place in the country so far, and in terms of available evidence. The engineering advice has been that there isn't an issue with foundations. But this is something, again, that our meeting would have discussed in detail on Monday in relation to the importance of actually, as applications or as work is done, assessing that as it moves along in terms of each individual application. But I think in terms of the applications which are in hand now, Greg, I believe there's a number of them there which decisions haven't been made on, which the discussion is whether they should be full demolition or not. We need agreement between the council now and the department in relation to making decisions on those. Those in that category are the worst of the homes in the county as well, which therefore are the ones which are most urgent and pose the most danger as well. We need to unlock that and get answers on that so that those people can get the approvals and actually continue.
And what about the houses that are currently in really, really, really bad condition, but people aren't actually getting onto the scheme, so we can't really determine which are the worst ones first?
Well, the new regulations are to be in place over the course of this autumn. That will then enable new applications to be actually submitted as well. I think those that were very significantly damaged, a lot of those are in the system at this stage. The key priority is now in relation to those that are in the system, getting those moving and getting those approvals to homeowners so that they can get on.
In relation to the recent SCSI valuation figures that show what we all know, the huge increase in the cost of building, that doesn't apply to mica-affected properties. So how does that work? Why is the SCSI...
Well, there's going to have to be, and that's a matter obviously for the SCSI to advise on and for the government to engage with them on in terms of continuing to monitor that. The legislation which was approved in July provides that every year the costings can be updated, and that will happen every year going forward as well. The capacity is there to do that. So it's going to be important that as the scheme evolves and as the scheme continues, that the proper costs of actual rebuild are accounted for, and therefore that engagement between the council and the FCSI on the mica rebuild is going to be important on an ongoing basis. So
you said that you would, as best as possible, deliver a 100% mica redress scheme. We'll just call it that because that's what we're most familiar with. You know, it's stalled at the moment. Nothing is really happening. If everything that you want to see happens, how close to a 100% redress scheme do you think this is for the majority of people?
Well, there's obviously things not covered, and there's things which I would have fought on behalf of owners to try and get covered outside of the actual rebuild of the home, and that aren't part of the scheme. But what the scheme provides for is houses to be rebuilt or remedied. If it's a rebuild based on the 2007 regulation, and for that to be done and rebuilt and a grant to be provided on the basis of updated costings year on year in terms of the cost of actually doing that. And listen, we all fought hard to get the best scheme we possibly could. I think the scheme that is in place now is a very strong one. Yes, it doesn't include everything that we'd have wanted, but I think it was a very, very strong outcome.
So just one question. I'll keep you. Well, the previous one, yeah. Is it that different? But anyway, I'll keep just 2 minutes. I know you have to go. I know you have to go at 9:30, but just 2 minutes. Speaking to a lady this week, 66 years of age, widowed, in her house, crying herself to sleep at night, has been told that if she's to remedy her house under this new scheme, she has to find €150,000. She may well have voted for you. I don't know. She's certainly from the Inishowen Peninsula. Ellen is her name, by the way. Cries herself to sleep at night every night. €150,000 she's been told that she would have to come up with herself. And this is just for an outer leaf. How can you tell someone like Ellen that this is a good scheme? She's never going to be able to repair her house. She has to live in it whilst it falls down around her.
Well, in terms of, first of all, I need to see the specific detail of that particular case. There's been lots of calculations done over the last while where people are calculating based on what they're hearing. I think it's important we get people actually approved in the scheme, that we actually get full quotes for people. And I think when you look at the calculations that are there, now this is work that was done by the Chartered Surveyors of Ireland in relation to the costing, was announced in March of this year. It was broadly welcomed by homeowner representatives at the time as costing which did reflect the market, and that'll be updated every year thereafter. So I think the key thing here now, Greg, is actually driving on, getting homes fixed. We've had 12, 13 fixed already, 50 underway, but those others need to get answers now so that work can continue. It's going to be something that's going to take a number of years, but it has to happen in the quickest fashion possible. And key to that now is actually getting answers in as many of the applications that are in the system over the next while. And that was the key objective of my meeting, along with Senator Blaney and the Fianna Fáil Council.
Very finally, last
we're
question.
Hoping that we'll see progress in that now over the next week or two in relation to agreement between the council and housing on proceeding.
Just quick word on this from a listener. My house is ready to fall down. I can't find a place for me and my children to live. I'm stuck on phase 2. It needs to be demolished. What am I going to do? Is there a plan in place, like a hotel, for us to live in? Because in about 2 months there won't be a house.
Well, there's first of all, in cases like that, it's about actually getting an answer so that the work can get underway and get rebuilt. There are challenges there in terms of wider accommodation at the moment, in terms of rental supply. What the scheme does provide for is payments for up to a year of accommodation for families while their work is ongoing. And obviously, I know it's something the council are assessing, working with councillors as well, in relation to the housing situation in terms of what support and what housing supply and options might be there to support families. But I think overall, Greg, it's about actually getting homes fixed, because the more we get them fixed, the more we're actually addressing the housing challenge in the county, and the more we're actually relieving the trauma that so many of our families in the county have been experiencing.
Right, thanks for your time this morning. I know you've had other engagements to get to. I appreciate it. That was the Minister for Agriculture, Food and the Marine, Charlie McConnell.
The 9 till noon show with St Eunan's GA Club Development draw. €40,000 in prizes. First prize, a Hyundai Kona Car, plus 9 other great prizes. Tickets now available online at steunansgadraw.com or any club member.
Wallet, nappies, baby, boobs, all set. You'll find expert advice on the convenience of breastfeeding at mychild.ie from the HSE.
Have you heard about the Regal Room at Eclipse Cinemas, Lifford Strabane? Feel the glitz and the glamour of old-style cinema elegance with a luxurious modern twist. Enjoy a red roomy armchair or love seat, each with its personal footstool. Relax and unwind with a nice glass of wine, some Italian gelato or even a pizza. To find out more about the Regal Room at Eclipse Cinemas, Lifford Strabane, or to book your luxury experience, go to eclipsecinemas.com.
A public service message from Donegal County Council. Householders and building owners in areas susceptible to wildfires are advised to cut back or remove any vegetation or other combustible material in the vicinity of their house, building or oil tank to prevent wildfires damaging or destroying their property. Cleared areas should be maintained free of vegetation and combustible material. Donegal County Council, protecting your environment.
At Volkswagen Commercial Vehicles, the wait is over. Production is back. Now your plans can really begin. Whether that's scaling your business or smartening your service offering, with HP Finance from 3.9%, purchase contributions of up to €3,000 and service plans from €12.99 per month, don't wait. Secure your next Caddy Cargo, Transporter 6.1 or Crafter at your local Volkswagen Commercial Vehicles dealer or visit volkswagenvans.ie. Be ready to really deliver. Offers for business customers only. Finance provided by way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland and subject to lending criteria. Terms and conditions apply.
Call into Connolly's Volkswagen Letterkenny today or visit connellys.ie to book a test drive.
Wallet, nappies, baby, boobs, all set. You'll find expert advice on the convenience of breastfeeding at mychild.ie from the HSE.
Okay, Michael Doherty is now the former PRO of the Micah Action Group. He joins us on the programme. Thanks for taking the time out this morning, Michael.
Good morning, Greg.
Good to have you on. Just off the back of a call with Minister Charlie McConalogue, and
okay.
I took nothing from it that gives me any sense that I could relate to listeners that anything is actually moving forward. And the more I hear about it, the more it feels to me. And we heard from Minister McConalogue there, and he can have his position. The more it means to me is that we're really no further on from the first scheme in terms of a scheme that people can get their houses fixed without having to come up with money. And in other words, those with no money end up still just sitting in houses that are falling down around their lugs. Now, I know, is there anything that I've said that's wrong that you can give people a bit of hope with?
Well, first of all, I'm just out of a meeting, so I hadn't heard Minister McConalogue on there, but I've heard him enough of times in the past to probably get a sense of what was said and not said. But, the only thing I would say is we had an 80-10 scheme that was 60-40, so there's no point in talking about a scheme that, you'd took 90% and been happy with, because that was never on the table. It was a 60-40 scheme, which was cost an average homeowner for an average sized house over 100k, and that was back before we got inflation. Now, there are a few things that people will definitely benefit from this time round. The fact that there is 172,500 increase on the cap. So for the bigger houses, they will avail of that money that they wouldn't have got before. There's 15k for accommodation that they wouldn't have had before, 5k for storage they wouldn't have had before. There is the very firm position of principal private residences only in the old scheme that has now been opened up a bit, at least, in that somebody with one rental home can get that over the line as well, subject to RTB, which is ironic in the fact that we had government ministers without RTB registered properties themselves. But anyway, well, I'm sure we'll get past all that. So there are advantages. The disadvantage, Greg, is that the opportunity was missed to give everyone a pathway forward. So to your point, which is 100% right, there is nobody that's not going to get away without having to go to the bank here to try to find money. And that's just not on the table for pensioners and many other people out there. And we had a pathway forward that talked about the likes of the penalty-free downsizing, that talked about the likes of transfer of eligibility, that let people, even though they should never have been in this position in the first place, but there was a pathway if they were prepared to take that. And it'll never sit with me why they weren't prepared to at least do things that was costing the exchequer nothing extra. We had a minister
yeah, but you could
at
argue,
the table,
Michael,
with a minister at the table, Greg,
yeah.
with a minister at the table that should have absolutely not left that table until he had agreement that things that cost the state nothing extra, he had in his pocket walking out that door.
Yeah, but the thing about that is if they had have conceded that, this would be a scheme that many, many more people could access. The likes of Ellen, who we've spoken to this week, could access, and therefore it would have cost whatever it would have cost. The way it is now, by resisting that, it excludes an awful lot of people. It excludes an awful lot of people and keeps the costs down. So in other words, it's almost purposely a bad scheme, but you've unveiled a scheme that you can make quite a coherent argument for some people at the very least that it's very close to 100%. But the reality is Ellen and hundreds like her, it's no different. In fact, even maybe sometimes a little bit worse than the old scheme. And maybe that was the motivation.
Yeah, and that's such a shame, Greg, to be living in a country where we have to have a conversation that questions the intent of the people that are meant to be looking after us. And that is the real shame on this, that I can't disagree with what you're saying. And that's just terrible to think that that's where we're bringing up our kids in a society like that. And that's why, in case we don't get an opportunity later, I think that's why the 24th, that's Saturday, we need to be in Dublin, and we need to let this world, not just the government, let the world see what it is that we're putting up with on so many different levels. We've got it on Micah. There's so many. Should it be education? Should it be health? Should it be marine? Should it be agriculture? The list is endless, and that ill intent is how I would describe it. That you just described as potentially what it is in it for them, because there's no other logical explanation.
All right, well,
that's just terrible.
A lot of people, though, may not attend, and I'm not discouraging them, because they may have given up on this current coalition, for right or wrong, on delivering or changing. They might be saying, right, well, let's wait after the next election. We had Sinn Féin this week reaffirm their commitment to reviewing this scheme, to making it a fully funded 100% redress scheme. You've been dealing with politicians for a long time now. Do you believe that a change in government, a Sinn Féin-led government, will deliver everything they've promised in relation to Micah redress?
The honest answer, and the only honest answer anybody can give to that question, Greg, is that we don't know. All I do know is that we have thrashed to death any possibility of getting the scheme that we need with the current coalition, which means you have to give someone else a go. They talk about the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. I think we've been there too many times with this coalition to think that we're going to get anything more. That said, it's easy to shout from the sidelines. I remember clearly being in Leinster House with Charlie McConlogue, with Darragh O'Brien, with Micheál Martin, at the time whenever Leo Varadkar and Owen Murphy were in the high seats of power, that time as Housing Minister and Taoiseach, and them telling us what they were going to do for us when they would get in, and we've seen what they've delivered. So I have no confidence in anyone at this point in time, to be honest, because of the system that they're up against, be it department officials or otherwise. But at the end of the day, they have to call the department to heel. They have to say, we are the elected representatives, and this is how it's going to be, guys.
I'm not saying we should look to Britain. I'm not saying we should look to Britain to look for example. But Liz Truss went in, and Liz Truss went in. One of the first things she done was change people at the head of the civil service. And when we talk about civil service, I'm not talking about the people that on the ground around here that work for the civil service. I'm talking about the heads of departments, the decision makers. She went in and she changed them all, and there was big pushback, big resistance, but presumably she has a plan, and the only way she can actually make that plan happen, whether it's a good one or not, I don't know enough about it to know, is to get rid of people that might stand in her way. But we would never see that in this country, I don't think.
No. And, it's the Secretary Generals, it's the principal officers. It's not what we have at a local level. Okay, there'll be opportunity there, and there's no doubt about that as well. But, the key decision makers and the people that can hold this stuff up and the people that can hold the politicians to ransom are not at local authority level. They're at the Secretary General level, and they're at the principal officer level. That's what we've been dealing with. That's where we found the resistance coming from. And we also had an Attorney General that done us no favours either. So, these are the people that, we need a strong enough government to come in and, as I say, pull these people to heel and say, no, the tail's not wagging the dog from here on in. This is the way it's going to be. I honestly hope that that's what the alternative government does in 2 years' time, if that's how long it takes. But there's no guarantees, and we've been let down too many times by people shouting from the sidelines. So we have to watch the space. But we have to believe as well. We have to give people hope. And, that's the next show in town when these people do come in here, this alternative government, and we have to hold them to account.
Where will the Micah Action Group be at that stage, though, Michael? I think there was a peak. There was a peak ahead of the amazing rally, and history will never forget what happened that day. It was really, truly remarkable, and was the catalyst for change, although there was a bit of cloak and dagger, I think, went on in terms of what change was delivered. All that being said, at that time, the campaign was so strong that even those that maybe were trying to undermine it or suggest a different path, they were sort of bouncing off it because it was so strong. That being said, you keep chipping away at the strongest of rock. Eventually it will give way. The likes of yourself have left the Micah Action Group. there's a little bit of, I think, acceptance that for the next 2 years, what can be done, even with a incredibly well organised campaign. So because I think a Micah Action Group has to be incredibly strong at the time of a change of government, really, for those changes to be followed through on. But between now and then, where is the campaign? Where is the movement? Is it splintered? Is it scattered? Has it run out of steam from all the effort that has been put in?
No, I think it's probably a very good question. A lot of people want to know, what our position is on that. I would just remind people that 11 years ago, Micah Action Group started around a kitchen table. We have always had strong characters, okay? They just change. No one should ever take away from what Anne Owens and Eileen Doherty did for this campaign. When Micah was not a sexy word, okay, it was a horrible word that people were in denial they even had it in their own homes. And, they managed to pull together, and I was in the tail end of that, but they were in the thick of it the whole way through, was to pull together that 90-10 scheme. So something that had nothing came through to being the biggest redress scheme in the land. And that was down to them two ladies and others that worked, Chris Scott and Eamon Jackson and others that worked along with it all the way through. So they made that happen. Their time had come then where the 90-10 scheme was delivered and they stepped aside. Okay, and they didn't completely step aside because they were still involved. And then myself, Eamon Jackson, we had an input of energy from the likes of Lisa Hone, who's staying on, thankfully, and I think will be a massive asset to the new Micah Action Group, and the likes of Sarah Keys-Gill that got involved in there, and they just lifted it to a new level. Who knows where them next levels are? People come, people go. It's not about individuals. It's about the campaign and it's about the cause. The cause hasn't gone away, and we know where the gaps are now. So I think this is evolving, and I think this has to now go into a phase between now and a change of government that's about ensuring there's no further ground lost through the regulations. And I know the likes of Lisa Hone in there will make sure, and she'll be all over that she worked extremely closely with us the whole way through. Though the job for now is ensuring no further ground is lost.
I've no doubt
is making sure the regulations don't detract from what we've got.
I've no doubt of the new faces, enthusiasm and commitment to this. That being said, though, if maybe homeowners don't get behind them like they have in the past, those resources can be depleted quite quickly. How important do you think it is now that the campaign unites behind this new group of individuals?
I think that's critically important, and a couple of things that I want to thank the three for being brave enough to stay on, because it would have been easy for everyone to walk. I needed to walk at this point just for family reasons, and to be honest, the experiences of it just left you that you needed a time out, even for your own mental health, to get yourself back in the game again from a family perspective. It was all encompassing. It shouldn't have been all encompassing. I think if the load was shared more, it would be more sustainable for people, but it is a burnout situation because there's not enough of people taking it on. And I think the other part as well that I would say to people out there, they need to protect their campaigners better than what they've done, right? Now, this is not me looking for sympathy at this stage. I know I'd have taken a few shots. Paddy Diver's taken a few shots, a lot of shots, each of us, to be honest, by naysayers that really didn't have anything else to offer as an alternative strategy. But, a lot of stuff that was unfair, a lot of stuff that questioned integrity, what it was you were about, questioned your motives, looking for something in there that was undermining the possibility that you were just in it for the right reasons, to do the right things. And, a lot of people let that happen. For me to engage, or for Paddy Diver to engage and lock horns with these people, that takes away from our credibility within the campaign. But what you would expect is that the thousands of people that should know better out there would weigh in behind and say, hang on, this is just out of order completely. There was bits of that, but there wasn't enough of that. And that allowed oxygen for these people that had nothing better to do other than keyboard warriors. And, we all have families. None of us in here get one penny out of this. If anything, you're out money, and you're out a hell of a lot of family time. And the one thing that I would say, not about looking backwards, but learning from the experience of it, is looking forward to the new campaign and the new campaigners that's going to be within Micah Action Group. They need better protection by the public. They need to be protected because they are out in a limb. They don't need to do it. And it's not that we were
I get you, but
with volunteers
we
either.
don't live
We
in
only
a,
had 10
exactly,
out of 14
Michael.
people.
The only thing is, and I know that would be nice, but we live in we sort of live in a world now on all issues where we don't have sort of that blind faith. And I'm not saying it's blind faith, but we are conditioned now to question everything. And and we believe a lot of stuff, whether we should or not. But I think your message you've related there is clear, and the people that want to hear it will hear it, and those that won't. You know the way it is. That's just the way we live nowadays.
Yeah.
Michael, there was talk of elections, running in elections ahead of, I think, really the final decision, and I think that was mentioned at the right time because it might have lit a fire under some people to maybe get something extra across the line. Do you think that's still a realistic option as we head towards the next election, or do you throw all the faith into the current opposition? Now, we don't know the outcome of the next election, and if there could be a coalition formed to keep out what seems to be the obvious next government, anything is possible. But do you think there is any point now at this stage, or do you think it's likely that candidates will be run at the next election, single-issue candidates?
I think this is one for the new committee. What we wanted to do at the AGM, Greg, was to leave pathways forward in terms of, draft roadmaps. And really it's up to the new committee then to decide which one they want to take. We left things open, for example, a central committee whereby the 13 counties that we know all have defective concrete blocks at this point in time, that there'd be one rep from each of them would come into a central committee. That central committee would then deal with government, deal with the officials, deal with media, and in the meantime, each county would have its own action group, and there'd be feed forward and feedback to the people through that. And that's one aspect of it. In terms of the political aspirations around that, I think we had to throw that out there. We had to make that a real possibility. It's still out there as a possibility. You've got local elections as well that I think we could certainly do with Micah councillors around the table there to keep people on point. Okay, I honestly see the meetings that take place at county council level, and they're not businesslike. They don't work for me. And we're on the outside looking in. You could certainly influence that greater from within than outside. You look at then at a national level, and could we do with our own couple of independents that'll be down there? And we've seen the bargaining power that independents can bring to the table. I don't think any of that should be ruled out.
Okay, right, Michael. Lots of people thanking you for your service over the last while. I think really you don't fully step out of anything like this when you've been so involved in it. But if there is other people now to do some of the work that you and others have been doing, and we look forward to speaking to them too over the course of the next while. Unless there's anything you want to add, Michael, we'll wrap it up there.
Yeah. Well, just a couple of things, and it's probably more. We talked about where to going forward, and one of the things I should have mentioned is the likes of Paul Dunlop and the whole science thing that he's got, and he's got. Between 15th and 17th now up in University in Letterkenny, we've got international defective concrete block experts coming to take place and hopefully influence what we have in NSAI. That's a big step forward. With the likes of Joe Morgan working very, very hard, and he's had Eileen Ann, Eamon Jackson and others in there as well on the whole European aspect of things. So all of that's going on at the same time. It may not be directly sitting under MAG, but this is all work, all in the right direction. The 100% redress page, we should never forget what Paddy had ever brought to the party, and we should never do that. We have also got ladies in particular that were working behind the 100% redress page, put massive effort into that, and I don't want to start naming them out individually, but we have another Lisa in there that played a big part. But what I would say is that that's all part of the campaign going forward, and please, people, do not drop your heads. Some of us needed a bit of time out. We haven't gone away. We'll be there. Sounding boards will be there for advice where that advice is asked for. So that's not going away. And lastly, just to thank a few people. Obviously, the Mike Action Group that were there for years, both past and present, for those going forward, to wish them all the best. My own family, who put up with an awful lot of stuff, as have the families of the other Mike Action Group members, the Paddy Divers and the 100% Redress Gang. Families pay a big price here on this stuff. The likes of Highland Radio, I have to say yourself, Greg, I have always found you fair. I've always found you'll test us, but that's fair enough. We should know our stuff. And if you know your stuff, you'll have no problem with Greg Hughes or Highland Radio. Come to that matter. And you have given us a platform, both in Letterkenny and in Dublin, that we'll always be grateful for. And just, I suppose finally just to say, please again, the 24th of September, don't miss our opportunity to get down there and make our voices heard. Try and avoid the excuses. Do not leave it to others. Let's stand up, step forward and be counted.
Michael Doherty, former PRO of the Micah Action Group, thanks for your time this morning. Have a good day. Chat to you again. All right, take care.
Thank you, Greg.
Okay, back with more after these.
Would you like to win a Hyundai Kona Car? Well, that's the first prize in the St. Eunan's GA Club Development Draw, who are sponsors of this week's 9 till noon show. There's 9 other great prizes, and tickets are now available online at steunans.gadraw.com or any club member.
Foley's Bakery. In changing times, you need the right support to take the next step in building your business.
Foley's Cafe.
At Bank of Ireland, we're here to support the financial well-being of your business as it grows, with faster, easier loan applications and dedicated business teams when you need them.
Hello, Foley's Coffee Roasters.
Search Bank of Ireland Business. Bank of Ireland. Begin. Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply. Over 18s only. Bank of Ireland is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Whether you're travelling for business or leisure, fly local and choose City of Derry Airport. For a convenient, friendly and reliable service, choose City of Derry Airport. Direct flights to London Stansted, Liverpool, Edinburgh, Glasgow, Manchester and Majorca. Book now at cityofderryairport.com. Voted the #1 airport in Northern Ireland.
Don't sleep in and miss the very latest beds and mattress offers from dfibeds.ie, Ireland's leading online bed and mattress retailer. You'll get a comfy Irish-made mattress, upholstered base and headboard from an amazing €229. Check out the full range at dfibeds.ie. Delivery free and guaranteed to you within 7 working days. DFI Beds. Sleep well, live well.
Save on your shopping at Kelly Centra in Letterkenny. In store, you'll find the Great Value Centra range and a super selection of fresh produce, including fresh meat. Many back-to-school favourites are half price. Find all your day-to-day needs with great mega deals every week at Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Thinking of changing your car for a new car? Get ahead of the queue. It's time to order your new 231 Nissan today. With an award-winning range of vehicles, your next car will be a Nissan. We are sure of it. Visit us in Letterkenny or Malin or online at imotors.ie.
Right now, the worst drought in decades is starving people across Ethiopia, Kenya and Somalia. This is a crisis of horrific scale, but together we can save lives. 7 Irish aid agencies have joined forces and are appealing urgently for help to provide life-saving food, water and healthcare. Please visit irishemergencyalliance.org and click Donate or free phone 1800 939 979. Thank you.
Calling all brides. We know you want your bridal party to be picture perfect. At Fit For You Alterations, we can help, specialising in all areas of dressmaking and tailoring. Fit For You Alterations, Chestnut Road, Ballybofey. Call 085 849 1009 for details. Fit For You Alterations, Ballybofey, making it fit for you.
My worry was I going to live or was I not going to live? That's the worry you have with prostate cancer.
My advice to men is quite simple. Never, ever, ever take your good health for granted. Recognise the symptoms. Get checked.
This September, the Marie Keating Foundation is asking you to stand up for your prostate. Find out more at mariekeating.ie, kindly supported by Estellas.
Sheridan Security, now introducing zero-wire smart alarm systems. Zero wire, zero mess, and a real peace of mind. With a simple press of a button, your alarm can be set or unset, or download the free app and control it from your phone. Call us today on 074 912 6025 and get your alarm from €299. Stay local, stay safe and protect what you value most with Sheridan Security Systems.
Are you interested in returning to education? ATU Donegal's Certificate in Access Studies for Higher Education is a free course available for adult learners, early school leavers, or those who have never had access to educational opportunities before and want to kickstart their third level education. The closing date is the 23rd of September. For more information, visit atu.ie/access-Donegal.
Callahan's Gala and Go Birch, your one-stop family shop. With over 50 years of experience, we pride ourselves in providing a top-class customer experience. Keen fuel prices, convenience shop, hot deli, hardware.
And Frosty's famous special recipe ice cream.
Family-run, helpful staff and service with a smile.
Sure, it's all go at Callahan's.
Greener choices are the key to a sustainable future. That's why Energia will give you cash back for any excess energy you produce from solar panels at home with our great value microgeneration tariff. Because the choices we all make today will change how we live tomorrow.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning. It's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the Highland Radio News Desk. The outgoing PRO of the Micah Action Group says while he believes the new government will be necessary to deliver an acceptable defective blocks scheme, he's not supporting any political party. Michael Doherty, who stepped down as the group's AGM this week, told Greg on today's 9 till noon show that while Sinn Féin is promising to deliver what the group wants, he's not going to advise people to vote in any particular way. On the issue of the group running candidates in the next general election itself, he said it's a matter for the incoming committee and stressed the immediate priority is to deliver a strong message to government at the weekend's cost of living demonstration in Dublin. However, Michael Doherty made it clear that whatever happens in the future, he has no confidence in the current administration.
We have thrashed to death any possibility of getting the scheme that we need with the current coalition, which means you have to give someone else a go. That said, it's easy to shout from the sidelines. I remember clearly being in Leinster House with Charlie McConlogue, Darragh O'Brien, Micheál Martin, at the time whenever Leo Varadkar and Owen Murphy were in the high seats of power, and them telling us what they were going to do for us when they would get in, and we've seen what they've delivered.
A Donegal man has appeared in court in Northern Ireland facing 6 charges relating to allegations of historic sexual abuse against 2 former pupils of his. 79-year-old Patrick Gerard Sharkey, who now lives in France, has denied the allegations. With more, here's Michaela Clark.
Patrick Gerard Sharkey, with an address at Route d'Ordre, Linards, France, has pleaded not guilty to all the charges against him at Antrim Crown Court. He faces 2 counts of indecent assault against one complainant on dates between August the 31st, 1992 and July the 1st, 1994. He faces 4 similar charges against a second person alleged to have been committed between May the 1st, 1995 and December the 31st, 1998. Both are former pupils of the accused. Mr. Sharkey was arrested in Coventry last June. He's been released on bail with the trial set to get underway on February the 13th, 2023.
A new report has examined the readiness of Killybegs Harbour for the development of offshore renewable energy. The report by Wind Energy Ireland finds the port has the potential to service potential offshore wind sites with its skilled workforce, the close proximity of shipbuilding and repair companies and access to the N56. However, it said the port would struggle to serve as a manufacturing or staging port. Concerns have been raised over the potential presence of a fatal fungus in trees on the Business Park Road in Letterkenny. Councillor Donald Coyle raised concerns about the presence of ash dieback in ash trees along the route after observing visible signs of the fungus on the trees. The council has confirmed it will carry out an inspection. Councillor Coyle says it's potentially a very serious situation.
I was talking to one particular gentleman and we're looking at the trees there. Every one of the trees seemed to have visible sign of this ash dieback, which is a fungus that attacks the trees. It's an awful pity because there's about 40 trees growing up along the Business Park Road, and I've asked the council to carry out an examination in conjunction with Teagasc to determine if this is dieback, and it looks like it.
And the Health Minister says every private bed in the country will need to be used to cope with a very difficult winter ahead for the health service. The Irish Nurses and Midwives Organisation is calling for the state to do deals with private hospitals now so public hospitals don't become overrun in the coming months. There are concerns over how healthcare will be impacted by an expected twindemic of COVID-19 and flu. Minister Stephen Donnelly says he instructed the HSE last night to use all private capacity available.
We need to be using every private bed, every private MRI, DEXA scanner, X-ray, nursing home bed, community bed. This winter requires the mobilisation of the entire healthcare system, the public and the private system.
Looking at the weather forecast, Almet Éireann are telling us that it'll be rather cloudy in the west with rain and drizzle this afternoon. That'll turn persistent in the evening and extend to all areas. Highest temperatures today 15 or 16 degrees Celsius with southerly winds increasing moderate to fresh. Tonight it'll become breezy with widespread rain, heavy and persistent at times with a chance of local spot flooding. Overnight temperatures 12 to 13 degrees Celsius, moderate to fresh south or southwest winds. After a wet start, dry and sunny weather will extend right through the region tomorrow by early afternoon. Top temperatures on Thursday 14 to 16 degrees Celsius, fresh southwest winds. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Until then, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notice is for this Wednesday morning, September the 21st. The death has taken place of Patrick McDermott, Ardfoyle, Moville. Removal from Liam Collins' funeral premises, Culdaff, this afternoon at 3 o'clock, going to his home. Funeral from there on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church at Boken, Culdaff, followed by burial in the adjoining graveyard. Family time please from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. Family flowers only, donations if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member. Patrick's funeral mass can be viewed live on culdaffparish.com. The death has taken place of Hugh McGlynn, 35 Beechwood Road, Letterkenny, County Donegal. Rosary both nights at 9 o'clock. Hugh's remains will repose at his late residence from 6 o'clock this evening. Funeral from there on Friday morning for Mass in St Junan's Cathedral, Letterkenny at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in the family plot in Lake Cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family time from 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. and on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only, donations to Diabetes Ireland, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Jackie Cairns, 239 Melmount Road, Victoria Bridge, reposing at his son Martin's home, Greenhill House, 2 Carrigullen Road, Strabane, this afternoon from 2 o'clock. Funeral leaving his son's home on Friday morning at 9:15 for Requiem Mass in St Teresa's Church, Sion Mills at 10 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers please to Knockmoy Lodge Residents Comfort Fund, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. Family time please from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Anne Doyle, Benduff, Carndonagh. Her remains are reposing at her home. Removal from there tomorrow morning at 10:30, going to the Church of the Sacred Heart, Carndonagh, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, with interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. House private please from 10 o'clock tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. The death has taken place of Pat Snell, née Forentini, Great James's Street, Derry. Pat's remains are reposing at the home of her sister Santina Langan, 12 Ballyneshala Gardens, Kingsford Park, Derry. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock for 12 noon funeral mass in St Joseph's Oratory, Shrewve Green Castle, County Donegal, followed by private cremation in Lakelands Crematorium, Cavan. Family flowers only, family time please from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. The death of Yvonne Scott, Cloncha Clomani, has taken place in Majorca, daughter of Magella and the late Andy Scott. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock in Boken Church, Culdaff. Family flowers only please, donations in lieu of flowers to the Irish Heart Foundation. The death has taken place of John McGonigal, Donegal, Mallinhead and formerly of Ballyheeney, Mallinhead, reposing at his home in Donegal. Removal from there tomorrow morning at 10:15, going to St Mary's Church, Lagmallan, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, with interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. And the death has taken place of Patrick McFadden, Paddy Oney of Meenaniller, Derrybeg, originally from Meenaduff, Bombay. Funeral Mass in St Mary's Church, Derrybeg, this morning at 11 o'clock, with interment afterwards in Maharagallen Cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed live on Kieran Rorty, Funeral Director's Facebook page. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Declan? Yeah? Did you know there's already been more than 20 big Euro Millions winners this year?
What? 20?
Yeah.
And that's just in Ireland.
Whoa, wait, how big is big?
At least €500,000.
Whoa! Oh, is that another dream?
Yeah, snorkeling in Fiji. Hey, Decky.
Yeah?
Don't forget your ticket.
The National Lottery. It could be you. Play responsibly. Play for fun. Euro Millions and Euro Millions Plus wins between January and September 2022.
Okay, you're welcome back to the second hour of the 9 till noon show. Let's get to some of your comments coming in this morning, and keep them coming into us, by the way. 086 60 25,000 or 07491 25,000 if you wish to give us a call. Greg, well done to Michael in all his work for the Micah Action Group Committee. Another. Unfortunately for the people across Donegal, Minister McConnell Logue, like his predecessors in the Fine Gael-led government, are just kicking the can down the road, leaving it until after the next general election for the new government to deal with. They appear to have no appetite to remedy Micah. That's coming in from Mary T. Sweeney, who's a rep for Aintu, of course. If it's the civil servants that run the country, what's the point in having elections? If this government can't get children a seat on a school bus, then it's time for the people to fight for change. Think long and hard before voting again. We can change things for the better, believes a caller. Good morning, Greg. Of course, that woman down the country is right. It's the height of laziness to go out in your pyjamas. Plus, you're sleeping in them all night. Let's be hygienic here, after all. Good point, too. And I've thought of the hygiene. Greg, there are just too many Ukrainians arriving here. We're not equipped to handle them all. There is far too much money being handed out to shelter these poor people. How can our own students or tourists possibly hope to secure a room? I can see this killing our tourism trade for years to come. These very lucrative contracts need to be looked at. Indeed, well, who's going to scrutinise them? That being said, of course, I think much of that funding is part of effectively what is the European war effort, rather than coming out of the national coffers. Greg, is it fair for 17 social houses to go to refugees in Milford, 47 state-of-the-art apartments in Ballybofey, as well as none for Irish citizens? Now, I'm not sure about the apartments in Ballybofey, but I know there is some concern in that regard, and there is certainly some concern as it relates to these social houses in Milford. Another caller says, hi Greg, what about those social houses in Milford not being given to locals? Where are our local councillors and TDs for that area? This is a disgrace. Now, we will be talking about that, of course, but my understanding is, and we've seen it before, that this is not council-owned property, that this is private property. And we've seen it in Letterkenny and other towns and villages, and we've seen it with people who own hotels. It's up to them what they do with them. And if someone wants to build houses and then make them available like this, then whether people like it or not, it is up to them. I'm not sure what local councillors and the council can actually do. I don't think the council had a contract signed for these houses, and that was ripped up, and they were... now, I'm open to correction on all of this, and then they were used for another reason. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but you can't compel a private individual as to what they do with their private property. None of us would like that. If it's anything different to that, I know there was some tentative agreement, perhaps, as to what might be some of this property might be used for with the council, but I'm not sure was anything signed and sealed. That's a question I don't have an answer to. I think in terms of, say, for instance, if you wish to, I think really what the government need to clarify, what we need to get some clarification on is that, because we were told by ministers on this programme that there are two different lanes going here. There is a housing for all policy that deals with homelessness in this country and providing housing for people, and then there is this emergency response. Now, if the system is set up that one can skip from one to the other because one is more lucrative than the other, well, that's the system that needs to look at. They need to ensure that housing, long-term housing to service the housing waiting list, cannot be changed or recommissioned to be used for the more lucrative short-term to medium-term measures. It is the system that's allowing that wherever it's happening. If it's a case even of long-term renters being put out of a house so people can fill it with bunk beds. If that is allowed to happen, well, how is it allowed to happen? Under what guidelines is it allowed to happen? I think that's an area that requires quite a bit of scrutiny. Greg, has anyone ever complained about the lack of privacy at the Department of Social Welfare? You enter and must speak via a speaker on the other side. You have to give your details, and many of them are very private, while everyone in the queue listens in. You can do nothing for people shouting about personal data being protected. You can't even ask about your mother's phone bill despite explaining she's 99 and has Alzheimer's. Yet you have to walk into a public office and shout your personal details through a speaker system. Can anything be done about that? Now, we have had question marks over privacy at the likes of the country's emergency departments. That's the first message that I recall coming in, that someone's concerned about privacy at the social welfare office. But if any of you want to back up that listener, or maybe you have a differing point of view, get in touch with us again. The number's 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, your WhatsApps or texts, or your calls to 07491 25,000. Right, a very good luck to you if you're playing the bingo today. Back after the numbers and a break.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday, the 21st of September. You're playing on the blue sheet. The reference number is S8. It's game number 38. The numbers are 1, 81, 42, 73, 8, 61, 66, 89, 20, and finally 64. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with St Eunan's GA Club Development Draw. €40,000 in prizes. First prize, a Hyundai Kona Car, plus 9 other great prizes. Tickets now available online at steunans.gadraw.com or any club member.
Shopping for little ones can mean big bills, so Dunstore's Double Savers gives you new ways to shrink your bill with our baby event. Save in the aisles with our range of baby dry nappies and pants, with sizes for newborns and toddlers from only 99¢. And treat your toddler to our organic fruity rice cakes, like raspberry and blueberry flavour, now only 79¢ each. Then save again at the till with our 10 off 50 grocery voucher. Shrink your bill with Double Savers at Dunnes Stores. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next grocery shop of €50 or more.
We know it's only September, but here at House to Home, we're already thinking Christmas. If you need a new Irish-made suite of furniture in time for the festive season, call into our showroom in Bridgend, Donegal. Our suites of furniture are handmade here in Ireland, and they usually take 8 to 10 weeks from ordering. So if you're looking to cozy up on a new sofa and enjoy some Christmas movies, then call into House to Home in Bridgend, Donegal.
Let Joe McGee Butchers feed your family with their 5 for €20 deal. Choose from our fantastic deli range: lasagnas, cottage pie, chicken curry and soups. Just a sample of our fine products, all made in store only at Joe McGee Butchers, Letterkenny and Glencar shopping centres. Find us on Facebook and Instagram.
Fly with Loganair from City of Derry and save up to 15% on over 1 million seats during the Loganair Big Summer Sale with promo code SUN15, including flights to Edinburgh and Liverpool.
Fly with me, I want to take you there, precious moments of this journey.
Book between 21st and 29th September inclusive at loganair.co.uk. Travel from 24th of October, subject to availability.
Are you in a low income and worried about an essential expense or bill that you can't afford? The Department of Social Protection is here to help. The additional needs payment is available to support you with important expenses, such as utility bills or other essential household or personal costs. It's available to anyone on a low income who qualifies, no matter how many hours you work or if you're already on a social welfare payment. This support is provided by the Department's Community Welfare Service. To find out more, visit gov.ie/ANP or call 0818 60 70 80. A Government of Ireland initiative.
Okay, we were talking about perhaps it's probably the most significant road development ongoing at the moment. That's the 4 lanes into Letterkenny and into the west and north of the county. And we were speaking to Councillor Donald Kelly, the Mayor of Letterkenny Milford Municipal District last week, because the issue was also then going to be raised on Monday. That's last Monday's meeting, to get some clarity on it. And it appears that work will not be fully completed now until at least the end of Q1 2023. Councillor Donald Kelly joins us now. Donald, thanks for taking the call again. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Greg.
Right, okay. So, why is it taking so long to finish this road?
Greg, listen, as you're aware, and you said there, I had a question put forward for, it was actually yesterday's meeting, Tuesday, regarding the 4-lane, and that expressing my own concerns that it was, I thought it was running way behind, and listen, what I was thinking turned out to be right. They're telling us now that it's going to run on to the end of Q1 of 2023, which is it's very, very disappointing news to be hearing, and not the feedback that I was hoping for.
Right, Donald.
But what seems to be
just to be clear, right? I know you're not responsible for this. There's a contractor on site. The council are overseeing that. But of course, you, Donald, are you're elected there as the you're the mayor, and you're the sort of in between people on the ground and the council. So I'm not being tough, right? But what excuse is being given now as to the delays to this project?
Well, Greg, I suppose to begin with, they have told us yesterday at the meeting that the works on the road and the footway elements has significantly progressed, and that's up to 80% complete, which is positive. But the hold up here seems to be what we talked about the last time I was talking to you, is where you go out and it meets the rubber swilly along the road there, where the bollards is out to keep the traffic, I suppose, out at that bend. What the problem seems to be there now is the design of the structure that is to go in place there. They seem to have a problem getting the right design for the structure.
Yeah, but a design. Is it not the case, though, Donald, that a design that this had been designed, but the contractor didn't want to go ahead with that design?
Well, that seems to be the case, Greg.
Why is that? That's the kind of question we need the answer to. Why, when this had been designed, because I want the public to know exactly what's going on here, Donald, as you do too, right? A design had been put in place for that crossing. It was there was a bit of pushback on it, and then looking towards a new design. So, in other words, this is a work that's already been done, but we're going back to the drawing board. Do we know why that is?
No, but that's answers that we need to get, Greg. And listen, at the meeting yesterday, not only myself, but fellow councillor as well, Councillor Brogan as well. There, we expressed our concerns as well, and along with other members as well. And we asked that we have a meeting. So we've sought now for a meeting with the contractors and with Donegal County Council going forward. So that is to be arranged now. I'm hoping to get feedback on that before the end of this week and have a meeting hopefully early next week or the middle of next week.
Okay, what other excuses were what other excuses were given as to the delays?
There was no real other excuses given, to be quite honest, Greg, apart from the delay in this boardwalk structure. I talked at the time when I was last talking to you about a bridge, and this is that's more or less the same equivalent, a boardwalk structure going over the river. There's flood mitigation plans for there as well, and this seems to be what's holding the whole thing up. Apart from that, the contractors seem happy enough that the works is progressing with the footpaths on the road, and now I beg to differ on that myself.
Well, let me put it, just a wee question, because the contract was signed to be finished by October, isn't that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, and that was based on nighttime work only. Right, then the council conceded that daytime work could happen as well. And yet we're still looking at a March completion date. I mean, that was quite a big concession from the council that daytime work would be allowed to happen. So we've got nighttime work and daytime work now, right? And I don't know if you drive past how many people are actually working on that road. The whole thing's being held up because there isn't a plan to cross the Swilly there. I mean, that's a bit... I mean, there's other jobs, bigger jobs, that have been started and finished in between. So, how is it acceptable that the main route into Letterkenny, the west and the north of the county, is being held up due to the design of a boardwalk to cross the Swilly? It's a little bit embarrassing.
Greg, you're 100% correct, and I agree with you 100%. It is embarrassing, and it's frustrating, not only for ourselves as local representatives, but for the general public itself that's coming on that road, and not only for the people using the road, Greg, for the businesses along there. And I mean, you go out there any day, the amount of businesses that's out along there, and even down the Bunagee road there. I mean, there's numerous businesses down there, and they're suffering and they're feeling the effects of this big time.
Well, can I ask a question?
They were told at the time this would be finished in October, and now they've been told now that it's going to run on into the quarter 2023, and I mean, it's not good enough.
Right, just another question, right, as it relates to those businesses. Okay, you say it's 80% completed. Up until where the cycle path and the footpath hits the embankment of the Swilly, right? From that point, all the way up to the roundabout at the Clanree, where the majority of the businesses and why is that not completed? Like, why are if it's 80%, it's some 80%. Why from the point where it reaches that embankment, why is the road from that point then back to the Clanree not completed so as those businesses can operate as normal? Was any reason given for that? Like, why is bits and pieces of all of that road sort of 80% finished and it not all finished, so at least those businesses could operate and get some bang for their buck for the commercial rates and other rates that they pay the council?
Yeah, Greg, there was no reason given for that. And listen, Greg, the answers that I got, I'm not happy with, and that's why we've called now for a meeting. To have a meeting with the contractors, along with Donegal County Council, to express our concerns, and not only express our concerns, Greg, but also to apply extra pressure on this, and to have this road completed sooner rather than later, because, as you say, Greg, October was supposed to be the deadline. Then we were told November, and now we're being told that it's on now to the first quarter of 2023. I mean, that's a shocking news that nobody wants to hear, and certainly not ourselves, local representatives, because we do receive calls and day in and day out regarding this, and if it's not from the general public, from road users, from pedestrians, it's businesses, and everybody's feeling the effect. And my fear is coming into Christmas, Greg. I mean, this is not only the businesses or the people using this road is going to feel the effects. The whole of Letterkenny is going to feel the effects.
But you were also told that some of the hold-up is due to global supply issues.
Yeah, we were told that, Greg, that inflation, the rise in inflation, and from international events, that's what we've been told here on the answer.
But what for that road? What internationally do they need to finish the road? I mean, there's quarries are here. The quarries here in Ireland, so it's not that. It's general quarry fill, right? So that's not a problem. They're laying enough tarmac between Ballyshannon and Bundoran to do that road there, so it's not tarmac. So what are the global supply and inflation issues that's holding up this main route into Letterkenny, the west and north? Why are other projects proceeding? As I say, we've got the major resurfacing work that's being done. We've got roads that have been completed in the south, in the west and south of the county. We've got roads. Same contractors that tendered for this that are finishing roads in Derry. So what global supply and inflation issues are holding up this road that aren't affecting other roads? Like, why is that not being explained to the people and particularly the businesses?
Yeah, Greg, that's frustrating thing about this here.
Are they on about barriers? Because barriers are the last thing to go on a road.
Well, Greg, unfortunately, the sad reality of this is I was hoping to be on here today, able to answer every question that you're throwing to me. But unfortunately, the answer that we were given yesterday as representatives is simply not good enough. And the sad reality of the thing is today, Greg, I can't give you the answers that you need, and I wish I could. And listen, I'm as frustrated as anybody about this, and the reason being that we have stopped this meeting now with the contractors and Donegal County Council as a matter of urgency to get on top of this. I want to be back on Highland Radio along with yourself, Greg, and all your listeners, and giving you the full truth, every answer to every question that's asked of me. I mean, like, I'm on here today, and I suppose the feedback I'm giving you, it's not the feedback that the people want, but unfortunately, it's the feedback that I've been given, which I can't express enough.
But I haven't asked any I haven't asked any unfair questions, have I? I mean, and I'm not a roads engineer, but just basic stuff like why all the work on the footpaths, and why not finish the actual pavement? You know, why not finish the pavement so businesses can operate full? Like, where's the work that the council gave them permission to work during the day? Where's that work happening? What is happening? What happened when that happened? What international inflation and global issues, what element of the road structure is that holding up? At what stage is the design of this new bridge or pontoon to cross the Swilly? Where's that at? Do you know what I mean? These are fundamental stuff.
Greg, Greg, and very, very valid questions. Very valid questions that I certainly wish that I could give the answer to, and I wish I hadn't got the answers to these. But these are questions that I'm going to be asking myself to seek the answers for. I mean, I'm a great believer of myself, Greg. When you start something, you keep at it till you finish it. And I think in this case, they should have kept at that one side and finished it and before moving to the other side of the road. But listen, that hasn't been the case. The feedback we're getting now is that there's a problem with the design for the structure of the boardwalk adjacent to the rubber swilly. And
we have to be careful with the language. Is there a problem with the design, or did we not like the original design? Because that was sealed, that was designed. We're redesigning it, as far as I understand. Now, it'd be interesting you get some clarification on that. But there was already a design and plan put in place for that, because I said this to you last week. What was wrong with that design? Was it too expensive? Did it not potentially, do what it was supposed to do? Like, can we have this whole thing held up because we can't figure out how to cross a small section of the Swilly?
Yeah, Greg, that's again, unfortunately, something that we need to get answers to later. The best thing going forward now is a meeting is going to be shot.
Can I just respectfully say? Can I respectfully say to, like, people will feel, and I have to say, Donald, people will feel that maybe are you guys, the local reps, being tough enough on this?
Greg, that's understandable, and you're probably right, and quite honest, the people has every right to feel like that. But believe me, we feel the same, Greg. I mean, we are applying pressure at any stage we can here, and I mean, we're not getting the answers that we want, which is very frustrating. But yet, we're applying pressure at every point and opportunity that we can. And listen, we're going to go into a meeting now, I hope next week, along with these the contractors and Donegal County Council, the two bodies sitting down along with us, the public representatives. And we need to get this ironed out once and for all and see what's going on. As I said the last time, Greg, if it means putting more men on the ground, well, let's get it done. I mean, they're working there day and night.
But it's not about that, because they were given 24 hours a day to work on this road when previously they only had night time. It's supposed to be global supply and inflation issues, yet, we've got local quarries. They're laying tar all over the country, including in Donegal. So which is it? It's not. It can't be manpower, because that manpower hasn't been given as an excuse once. And yet now we're facing into a Christmas of people probably deciding to head somewhere else because it's too difficult to get into or through Letterkenny. And if I were a business owner, I'd be raging.
Yeah, Greg, and listen, Greg, business owners, I've talked to a number of them, and they are raging, and rightly so. Listen, it's not good enough. The answer that I've given here, it's simply not good enough. I mean, to give this to any local representative, it's just simply not good enough. They come from a contractor's point of view, and I mean, I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed at the answer. I'm annoyed at the progress that's been made, and we need to just get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, well, listen, we'll keep asking questions, because the days, and this is not directed at you, but the days where we, as the public, just sit around and have to have everything that happens just wash over us, and we have to accept it, and we say nothing, and it is what it is, and you can't make omelets without breaking eggs. This is millions and millions of euro, and we were given a commitment, and contracts were signed which should have that road finished right now, and yet there's more questions than there are answers. I appreciate you coming on, even though from that meeting on Monday you clearly weren't given much information. I think a lot of these, I don't know if these questions were posed, these obvious questions were posed at the meeting on Monday and there was no answers to come back from. But anyway, we'll watch with interest this meeting that's upcoming, and hopefully it's public and people get to see what's going on, because as I say, this could be this could be wherever this could be a holiday park in West Donegal or a caravan park in Creasla. There's only one of those, and I just picked that out of my head. I think there's only one. But, they're affected by this as well, because the traffic is struggling to get through. It's not just Letterkenny. The county is bigger than Letterkenny, and lots of people have an interest in the completion of this project. But for now, Councillor Kelly, I appreciate you coming on, even though we're no further on really from our conversation last week. We hope maybe after the next meeting we'll have more information. And I'm not trying to be a troublemaker or to ask tough questions purposely, but listen, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people driving through that road every day, and businesses that are already under massive pressure that are being hindered because of the delays. And I just feel I have to speak out on their behalf, Donald. So sorry to be doing it in your ear.
No, listen, Greg, just to finish up on that, Greg, I mean, you've every right to question me up and down, and I mean, that's the questions that the people out there want answers to. And I mean, it's frustrating that I can't give the answers. It's frustrating for myself, and frustrating for you all there on Highland Radio, and for the general public as well. But listen, I hope. Well, listen, I'm going to make sure, we'll put it like that, Greg, then when we have this meeting now with the contractors and Donegal County Council, that we're going to get the answers to these questions. And when I'm back on the radio with you after this meeting, that please God, every question that you throw at me, that I'll have an answer for, because that's what's needed here.
Well, the only thing I can
think
of, if just in that meeting, the only thing I can think of that that has an international flavour to it is barriers, right? So if that is the case, surely everything else can be done. Barriers often, from the roads I drive through, the last thing to go on. Right, so where's the decent road between the two bridges, the bridge and the roundabout, that would allow businesses to work and operate as they should be able to? Where's the centre margin? Where's all the road and all the footpaths from where it runs into that embankment to the Clanry? Where's all that? Why is that all not finished? Because I just think, if it's just barriers, I don't think that really cuts it. But anyway, I'll leave it to you. You're the elected rep. I'm just a mouthpiece on the radio. Councillor Donald Kelly, thanks for your time this morning. He's the Mayor of the Letterkenny and Municipal Milford District, Letterkenny and Milford Municipal District.
Would you like to win a Hyundai Kona Car? Well, that's the first prize in the St. Eunan's GA Club Development Draw, who are sponsors of this week's 9 till noon show. There's 9 other great prizes, and tickets are now available online at steunan'sgadraw.com or any club member.
We all know everyone's bills are going up, so maybe it's time to say goodbye to those other supermarkets. At Lidl, we always help to make your full shop cost less, so hopefully it's one less worry. Because when you go full Lidl, you'll have the freedom to shop without compromise and pay less. So go on, go full Lidl today. Paying less when compared to other supermarket retailers when shopping like-for-like products on pro-rata prices. See Lidl.ie/go full Lidl for more.
If you're aged 50 to 64, it's time to boost your protection from COVID-19. Your protection from previous vaccines or from COVID-19 infection decreases over time. Your next vaccine will help protect you from serious illness in the months ahead. Book an appointment at a HSE vaccination centre on hse.ie. Call our team in HSE Live on 1800 700 700 or contact a participating GP or pharmacy. From the HSE, for us all.
When you hit a certain age, exercise can seem like all pain and no gain. I mean, no one wants to see yours truly wearing Lycra. But keeping fit doesn't have to mean getting ripped. Simple things like bringing the dog for a walk.
Come on, boy, come on.
And taking the stairs more often can make a big difference. Work out what works for you. Get more tips at sportireland.ie/workout.
Unbeatable value, unbeatable range, unbeatable prices, unbeatable customer service. Whether you're looking for a pre-owned car, a new car, car servicing or parts, find out why iMotors is Donegal's favourite car dealership. Visit imotors.ie or call into our showrooms in Letterkenny or Malin.
Hi, Marty Friel here. Hope you can join me this and every Friday night from 8 till 10 p.m. with Rockin' Hits on Highland Radio in association with Arena 7. Wayne's World Kids Adventure Centre at Arena 7 is a must visit in Letterkenny with their multi-level soft play area perfect for kids from babies up to 9 years old. See arena7.ie for more info.
Okie doke, let's get to some of your comments here. Greg, last week the councillor couldn't help with the bus situation, and now this councillor cannot answer questions on why the road is not going to be finished. Embarrassing. What are these boys being paid for? I'm losing my head listening. Not a single answer. Does he have? He doesn't know, he says. He hasn't been given the information. There should have been a penalty clause in that contract where the contract would have to pay for delays the way they do in the UK. You can bet the problem would be solved then. These are questions that should have been asked on Monday. Greg, they built the new motorway to Belfast quicker. Not one councillor on air this morning to talk about the road between the Polestar and Clanree, but when it comes to cutting the ribbon to open the road, all the councillors will be there for the photo shoot. Well, in fairness, the Mayor accepted our invite to come on and answer the questions. A caller says the Mayor's not being tough enough on them. He's not going into these meetings with a comprehensive list of tough questions. Greg's suggesting loads of questions and challenges. It sounds like these simple questions aren't being posed. They're all too cushy friendly. Together are afraid to ruffle feathers. It's not good enough. This is public money and time just getting chucked down the drain. It's a disgrace. The council should be doing better and should be ashamed of themselves. Hi, Greg. Stopped going to Letterkenny 6 months ago. It's a disaster to get around. They can't do anything right. There needs to be some shake-ups in this country. The road is a disgrace. The footpaths are a disgrace. Over 1 year for 2 footpaths. That's as a runner are a disgrace. They are really hard to run on with so many hidden ups and downs and hidden dips. Totally disgraceful. Why is that road not finished? I bet I've been in town a few times a week and I don't see much being done. There's so much could be done on that road between the Swilly and the Clanree. It could be finished if it's 80%. Oh, John, I beg your pardon. Are you there still, John?
Yes.
Oh, I am so sorry, John. I put the piece of paper with your name to one side, and I really apologise to you. John, sorry,
Okay.
Can you give me your point of view, John?
No, I just listened to the thing about the road, but we're chatting about no Letterkenny, but that road's the main road to get towns far beyond, and people's coming to other places now, and they're changing their times to try and mass traffic jams and stuff, but the thing about the road is, whenever the road's finished, I think the road's going to be a disaster, because they have footpath, they have bicycle path, okay, but where's the room for 2 row of traffic? It's not there. A few 2 lorries, or a lorry and a bus, or a lorry and tractors or something. No way. The space is not. It's actually going to be a dangerous road, and I think the only thing the road's going to achieve, that's what Letterkenny needed years ago, it's going to push them that they have to do one thing, and they're going to see they have to do it. They're going to have to get a bridge. That's the only thing that road's going to achieve, because I think it's going to be a pure disaster whenever it does finish, because I never seen it worse.
Do you use it regularly?
I've never seen it. Regularly, every week.
Do you think it's 80% finished, John?
No, I don't think so. No, definitely not. They're far from it. Not 80. I think, as you said, 50%. You might be near it. Definitely not 80%. So the centre of the road has to be dug up. There had to be curbs put on, and God knows what. But I says, whenever you say, "Oh, that's funny," I was chatting to a few people. I says, where's the room for the traffic? That's a problem. It's going to achieve one thing. It's going to push, but there's definitely going to have to be a bridge, which should have been there. If I spent all that money on the bridge, because actually, for 2 rounds of traffic on each side, they destroyed the road. It's going to be dangerous, very dangerous, I think.
Maybe the game is to slow the traffic down. We've seen it before, you keep it narrow. I mean, it's there's not much space between 2 cars now between the cones, and I presume the centre barrier is going to be wider than what's there at the moment.
Well, definitely so, but probably it's going to slow, definitely. It'll slow, but even if you're slowed and you've no space, it's the space is where the danger is, Greg.
Right.
No, I think they destroyed a perfectly good road. They absolutely destroyed it, and I don't think they know where they're going. And that, but what you're on about the Swally and stuff, they don't know how they're going to keep the Swally back. I mean, you have a footpath and a bicycle path, and it just comes to a dead end, and it starts on the other side. I mean, what are you going to take your swimming gear with you to get across the other bit?
Maybe a ramp, and you could sort of ramp over. I'm sorry.
Just laughable.
I know, and that's it. It's just
But
Like
think about it now.
they started a long time ago, and it beggars belief to me that a solution hasn't been found. Had to cross a bit of the Swilly. That the footpath,
No, but they chat about Letterkenny and
there comes a
Burgess.
point. Can you imagine? There comes a point when you're laying the concrete there, and you come to the bank, and you go, right, we'll stop there now. Do you know what I mean? Like it's.
No, but that should have been figured out before they even start. That should have been in the plan before they started, you know. And the Swally was always there, didn't just appear whenever they started to do the footpath.
Yeah.
You know, but businesses, towns outside Letterkenny and stuff, people changing their rota and their times of movement to try to see if they can have a quiet time, quieter time in that road.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. You see, it's not just Letterkenny town centre. If we're going to I was keep thinking Inishowen, but the middle peninsula, say up towards, Downings, Carragard, Fawn, all that area. You have to go up those through Letterkenny. If you're heading to the airport, if you're heading to Kincashla, Burton Port, it's not realistic to go south and through Glenties, and there's work going on that road as well. These are the four lanes, or 2 lanes into the west and the northwest of the county.
I know we used to, I seen coming from the Melton side, you could have been queued back nearly to the Tassay, and I think it's you're definitely going to see gridlocks now a lot worse. No, you take bank holiday weekends and stuff, it was absolutely serious. But I think the way they left it now, there's going to be there's no space for traffic. It seems the agenda for it wasn't for traffic. Well, that's funny. As far as I'm concerned, unless it surprises me.
It'll be interesting to see now if they put a crossing. Up close as was originally planned. I'm not sure if it's still in the plans, but between the hotel and the businesses on the far side, I mean, it's needed, I suppose. But I wonder, is it going to be an over the road bridge, or if it's going to be traffic lights there, because that's going to probably, well, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It's 80% done anyway, John.
I don't know. I'll be surprised if it is a success, because as far as I can see at the moment, I think it's going to push something that Letterkenny needs, and Letterkenny should have had it.
The Bonnegate link
as a bridge.
Yeah. All right, John. Listen, thanks for holding. That was a genuine mistake. I apologise. Your time's precious.
Thanks
for waiting on.
Thanks.
Take care, Tony. Go on. You're talking too about roads.
Yeah, I live in the Ballafay area here on the Donegal Road. You'd be pretty familiar.
Yeah.
Coming through. I don't know if you come through the main street every day, or do you do the scenic route?
Sometimes I take the old unofficial bypass. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you, Tony.
Well,
by the time you're stopped at Kilross Junction, by the time you're stopped at Maclay's Corner, and then by the time you have to cross 25 zebra crossings, yourself.
Well, I know the scenic route's down, the Roadhouse Bar. That's the one you probably take.
Yeah. From time to time, depending on the time of the day.
Not a great road either. No, but talking about Letterkenny there, everybody, I know people that work in Ballabafay come from Letterkenny in the morning, and they say it's just shocking now at the minute, this last while to get through, the length of time it takes and so on. But as I said, Ballabafay here, there's the bypass. They were talking about the bypass. Would you believe it, Greg? It's almost 60 years ago. I worked in an architect's office. I was only a young fella at the time. I was only 16, or it wouldn't be 60 years ago. It was 55, I suppose. It was a line on a map then, and there was more planning applications turned down and more questions asked about, all kinds of things about this bypass. You can't do this, you can't do that, and they're still talking about it.
And they've switched to the other side now.
Exactly, it's just a line there's a line on a map then to the north east of the town, or the east of the town, and now it's a line on a map now to the northwest, you would say, I suppose. But that's all it is, and there's no talk about it now. I haven't heard it mentioned now for a couple of years at least. But there's roads about Ballabafay here as well, like out in Avenue Street there past Finn Park, and the state of that road is unbelievable. It's just coming. A lot of traffic use that now, as you know, the bypass coming around past Finn Valley Centre and past the new school, and coming in there at Super Value, you turn right to go up to Donegal Road. The state of that road there too. We have 2 councillors in the area here, and they don't seem to be able to. I don't know what it is. If you ask them anything, that one of them has a lot to say, and the other one doesn't say very much.
I don't know who, but anyway. Either way, that area you talked about, sort of, from Session O'Neill down past Super Value, down towards Finn Park, turn right. That road's in bits.
It's an awful condition. I mean, it's affecting businesses here in the Twin Towns. And then you've a wee village down the road here from us, Killygarden, Crossroads, Killygarden. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Well, they've got new footpaths down there, new road surfaces, all kinds of things going on. A footbridge over the river done a number of years ago. They're building a new bridge now above the creamery. And, they seem to get everything done. Because I personally think, and not personally, but people are saying, well, they've got a councillor not too far from there. They seem to get, everything
Stop
done
getting me
for
into
them.
trouble. Stop talking about councillors.
I'm
only
that's
joking.
the problem.
I know
That's
what
the
you're
problem.
saying. But Tony, historically, though, people in the Twin Towns, if I can call them that, have felt on the hind teeth of Letterkenny and other areas. Considering, I think some of the busiest roads in the county are in the Finn Valley.
It would be, yeah. That's yeah. But the other thing, Greg, just before we go there, they built a bridge down over down to your Carrigart at Fanad, way back a number of years ago. A bridge, one of the best bridges probably in the country.
It is.
And apparently, somebody was saying there mightn't be 20 or 30 cars used.
No, I think that's opened up a big part of that world. It's a massive bridge for relatively. That has changed how people move and travel around there, though.
They have, but at the time it was a political stroke. It was Fianna Fáil to get independent Fianna Fáil on board and that worked. I mean, you
but
should
why
be
should that bridge
Greg.
not? Yeah, but why should that bridge not be there? Are you saying that bridge should be? Are you saying that should be the Bonagee link, or it should all parts of the county deserve investment, Tony?
There should be one in Letterkenny, similar. It should have been there years ago. First before that one was done in Fanad.
Why though?
I mean, you want to be sensible about the thing.
Right. Okay.
There's things that are happening that shouldn't happen. And it's just not good enough.
Yeah, but you're in the Donegal Road.
Greg,
the Donegal Road's all been done up.
No, it's been done, right through the gap on through to Ballyshannon.
Lovely footpaths, nice surface.
Great job, yeah. You should be asking the questions, Greg, from these contractors and the county councillors. Listening to you there a while ago, you really made a good point.
But listen, I will raise the issue of the roads. I know, though, the local reps that you talk of have, because I attend the council meetings, or I certainly used to, the way the roads money was divvied out in the past, Tony, I'm not sure if it's still the case, and the local councillors don't really have much say on this, was by kilometre of road. So you'd have electoral areas that would be getting a bigger chunk of the money because they had more roads. But I remember, in some of the council that you talk of expressing their frustration, it should be about traffic because you have one of the busiest border crossings in the county in your area, and some of the greatest amount of traffic. But the money used to be divvied out based on how much roads, not the condition of the roads per se necessarily, or how many cars travelled on them. Now, I'm not sure if that's changed, but, as a local rep, there's not much you can do about that, and far be it for me to sit here defending councillors, but that was the system, Tony.
Well, I see there as well, Greg, it's fairly common in places where you see roads being resurfaced, and you're wondering, well, why did they need to resurface that road?
I will agree with you on that one. I've seen that myself.
You see that a lot,
There's one stretch of road I know, and it seems to be resurfaced every 2 or 3 years, and it's perfectly fine. They tear it up, strip it up, lay it again, lay it.
It's not a main road, I'm sure. It's not one of the. I'm talking about even wee back roads.
I know what you're saying. I do know what you're saying.
Anyway, Greg,
okay,
we could talk
Tony,
all day about it,
I don't think me or you are going to see the bypass of Ballabafay-Stroller. I hope I'm wrong, but it just seems like the Bonagee link. It just seems like one of those roads that will never come to pass. But we shall see.
Yeah. Anyway, Greg, thanks very much.
Have a lovely day, Tony. Good man. Lovely to chat to you, and thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's take a piece of music, shall we? Well, we'll take a piece of music if I press the button. Here's Paddy Casey.
The 9 till noon show with St Eunan's GA Club Development Draw. €40,000 in prizes. First prize, a Hyundai Kona Car, plus 9 other great prizes. Tickets now available online at steunansgadraw.com or any club member.
Inishowen Credit Union has recently launched Cultivate, an agricultural loan at only 6.55%, APR 6.75%. Call any of their 4 offices for more information or to make an appointment. Inishowen Credit Union, Buncrana, Carndona, Moville and Muff, supporting local farmers. Inishowen Credit Union is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
There's never been a better time to go full Lidl. Let's hear it from our customers.
Like, no matter what they want, there's something in the fridge. We discovered stuff that made our dinner special. They'd go, you didn't buy your meat in Lidl this week, did you buy it somewhere else? Yeah. Whereas now there's no point in me going anywhere else. It's Lidl. That's what they want.
Go on, go full Lidl today.
If you're in business and you need to accept card payments, An Post offer the best value in card payment solutions, saving Irish businesses on average 25% on current costs. It's fast and easy to set up or switch. Your money hits your account the next day. Call An Post on 1800 300 150 or email cardpayments@anpost.ie and start accepting card payments today.
Are you tired of waiting for treatment or surgery? Did you know you can receive immediate treatment across the border under the new NI planned healthcare scheme at potentially no cost? Donegal patients are still being treated with us at Kingsbridge Private Hospital Northwest post-Brexit. The process is easy and our dedicated team will help guide you through it. So why wait? Contact us today to find out how you can skip the waiting lists and receive treatment in Northern Ireland. Visit kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com, because life matters.
Attention sheep farmers. The Brocha Perth Blackfish Sheep Breeders Association 9th Annual Show and Sale will take place this Friday the 23rd in Brocha Mart. The show is at 1:30 with the sale at 5 p.m. This ad is sponsored by Fury Plant Hire, Glasha.
We wish you a...
It may be too early for Christmas carols, but it's never too early to start the Christmas shopping. Save hundreds, possibly thousands of euros shopping online with Space Hub Derry. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your Christmas parcels and post. Save hundreds, possibly thousands on customs charges this Christmas with Space Hub Derry. Call 04871 878077 for more details.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, it is 11 o'clock. Let's get a news update. And we say good morning once again to Michaela Clark. Good morning, Michaela.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The outgoing PRO of the Micah Action Group has said while he believes a new government will be necessary to deliver an acceptable defective block scheme, he is not supporting any political party. Michael Doherty, who stepped down at the group's AGM this week, told the 9 till Noon show that while Sinn Féin is promising to deliver what the group wants, he is not going to advise people to vote in any particular way. A Donegal man has appeared in court in Northern Ireland facing 6 charges relating to allegations of historic sexual abuse against 2 former pupils. 79-year-old Patrick Gerard Sharkey, who now lives in France with an address at Route d'Or, Lynn Arts, has pleaded not guilty to all the charges against him at Antrim Crown Court. The charges relate to alleged incidents between 1992 and 1998. The Education Minister says she's hopeful a review on the school transport scheme will be completed by the end of the year. Norma Foley is taking questions from TDs and senators as many parents report not being able to access bus places for their children. Many children in Donegal have been left stranded on a number of occasions as a result of the capacity issues. Concerns have been raised about the potential presence of a fatal fungus in trees on the Business Park Road in Letterkenny. Councillor Donald Coyle raised concerns about the presence of ash dieback in ash trees along the road after observing visible signs of the fungus on the trees. The council has confirmed that they will carry out an inspection. A new report has examined the readiness of Killybegs Harbour for the development of offshore renewable energy. The report by Wind Energy Ireland found the port has the potential to service potential offshore wind sites with its skilled workforce, with a close proximity of shipbuilding and repair companies and access to the N56. However, it says Killybegs would struggle to serve as a manufacturing staging port. And the Health Minister says it's no longer tenable to cite COVID-19 as a reason not to reopen daycare services for the elderly. The issue was raised in the Dáil by South Donegal Deputy Marion Harkin, who said a number of centres still haven't opened. In a statement to Highland Radio News this morning, the HSE says older person services continue to restore daycare services throughout the region. To date, 81% of day service facilities have reopened within the area. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Okay, thanks for all your comments so far this morning. Let's get to some more of them. Hi Greg, I work shift work and pass that road around 12:45 a.m. There's a maximum of six people working on that road at night time. Why not get more staff to work through the night when the road's quiet? How much extra has this delay cost? I'm not sure if it's a fixed price contract, if it's cost the taxpayer anymore. I don't believe it has. I'm not sure there's an uplift with things like this. I don't know. I was trying to get a water mains for 22 years in my house, and I went to every councillor in this county, and not one could do it. I eventually went to Councillor Donald Kelly, and he was the only one who got Irish Water to solve the problem. Okay, now, just to be very clear, and it doesn't just to apply to Councillor Kelly, but at programmes like this where we try and sort of get some answers, it's not a criticism or a slight necessarily on the person you're speaking to. Donald Kelly didn't have to answer the phone today. But he seemingly shares the frustration and is seeking answers. And sometimes, he's not the contractor or the head of roads or whatever. He's the person trying to get answers, and he wasn't given many answers seemingly on Monday. So it's not a criticism on him or necessarily a reflection on him or any of the councillors or elected reps sometimes that we speak to. Caller says an ambulance was coming down the road in Letterkenny and couldn't get through because of the roadworks, and there was nowhere for the cars to go. It's a disgrace that there are no arrangements in place for emergency vehicles. Well, I'm sure there must be, because as far as I'm aware, how you deal with emergency vehicles, there has to be a plan in place for that, I would have thought. I'm not sure then what happens if there's no one actually working on the road. Actually, that's something that I'm going to pursue a little bit further, because that's another question I wouldn't mind an answer to. Not me personally, by the way. Us. The ineptitude showed by DCC to completing a piece of roadworks is breathtaking, and bear in mind, this is the same DCC that is in charge of the micro redress scheme. A caller says they keep calling it the 4-lane project. It has always 4 lanes. There was nothing wrong with it in the first place. There was 4 lanes and a footpath. All it needed was resurfacing. Now they've ballsed it up again and wasted millions of taxpayers' money for nothing, not to mention the delays. So far, it's a lot of money for 2 footpaths. Keep the pressure on, Greg. Another, why is there no accountability in Ireland when these contracts go out to tender? Is there not a clause built in where if the contractor delays delivering projects on time, they'd be subject to penalties? This ensures projects come in completed on time and on budget. This is crazy. Has there been no lessons learned since the Children's Hospital free-for-all build coming up to Christmas? This is not good enough for the businesses in Letterkenny, not to mention the people that have to travel in and out for work every day. Has the delays from the past year not been enough? I can't understand this country. I'm at a total loss. And I really feel for, although maybe I'm overstating the impact this is having on businesses across those 4 lanes. But I know myself, I've had to make choices based on access to businesses. So that's why I feel that it must be an issue. I'm only one person. Greg's right, it's absolutely mortifying. The Channel Tunnel was finished quicker. What are we even getting? Wider footpaths for a road that's rarely used by pedestrians. We're a laughingstock. People coming from other countries to visit Donegal keep asking me, why is it taking so long? And we're not even getting an extra lane. A complete joke. I think footpaths, cyclepaths are a really important part, personally, of any modern new road infrastructure, because there is a big population that live out that road. You will maybe not see all the houses, and they're perfectly entitled to have safe access to the town, either on foot, on bicycles. So I think lanes, cycle and footpaths on both sides are important. A caller believes that work from the Polestar roundabout is a joke. Read the roads. How is the work ever going to get done when all the workers seem to be standing around doing nothing? I'm sure they are doing something. That's just a flash that you see as you drive past. At any other general construction, you have a weekly report, a monthly report. It should all be on paper in black and white of the comings and goings for the progress on a road, but we're told it's 80% finished. Coffee morning in St Mary's Hall, Kincastle, this coming Thursday. That is tomorrow already. It's from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. in aid of the Donegal Hospice. Wouldn't a nice cup of tea, hot tea, half a sugar, very little milk, and a scone with maybe a bit of jam on. Wouldn't that be nice? Well, you can go along to St Mary's Hall, Kincastle on Thursday from 11 till 3 p.m. It's in aid of the Donegal Hospice. Rightio. Let's take a break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with St Eunan's GA Club Development Draw. €40,000 in prizes. First prize, a Hyundai Kona Car, plus 9 other great prizes. Tickets now available online at steunans.gadraw.com or any club member.
It's back! The Furniture Show NI returns to CFC Interiors, Campsie Derry this Saturday. Save! With massive discounts from leading brands in furniture and interiors. From sofas, beds, flooring and design. CFC have it all reduced in their biggest sale. Don't miss the Furniture Show NI starting this Saturday, exclusively at CFC Interiors, Campsie Derry.
What matters most? A good night's sleep? Kitchen quality time? A clean house? Dinner time tradition? Or putting your feet up after a long day? What matters most? A happy home. Home Store and more. A happy home.
Fancy a lunch out today? Kelly's Diner in Letterkenny have a menu packed with great value selections. And there's also specials every day. Or enjoy a 3-course Sunday lunch from 12 to 3 for just $16.75. Take a seat for the best value lunch in town at Kelly's award-winning diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Are you thinking of transferring your family farm? If so, Teagasc are holding a Transferring the Farm Family Clinic and the Radisson Blue Hotel Letterkenny on Tuesday the 4th of October from 10:30am to 1pm. This is an opportunity to meet with local solicitors, accountants, mediators and other relevant parties to help you make a plan for the future. You can register for this event at teagasc.ie or contact your local Teagasc office. This is a free event and open to everyone.
SafeTech are running a number of accredited programs this autumn, including basic scaffolding, electro and butt fusion welding, roadworks, plant and machinery, confined spaces, water hygiene for utilities, UK construction cards and more. Funding available on all these programs. T's and C's apply. For all your safety and training needs, visit safetech.ie.
Milford Tiles, wood flooring and bathware. Milford Retail Park now open. Large range of wall and floor tiles on display and in stock. Over 70 different laminate floors to suit every pocket. Tilers and wood fitters available. New bathware showroom now open. Milford Tiles, wood flooring and bathware. 083 091 0707.
I know we mentioned scams a lot on this programme, but it's just in case it saves one person being robbed of their life savings or the little bit of money they may have in the bank or the big bit of money. There's another one going around at the moment, by the way. It's via text and it comes through from what appears to be an Irish mobile number. Now, we know with cloning numbers that they can use any number, and Rosemary passed it on to me and asked me to pass it on to you, which I think I shall do. The text reads as follows. It's HSC. You have been in contact with someone who has the COVID-19 variant. To order your mandatory test kit, kindly proceed below. And it's test.ie-safety.com/book now. So they're pretty clever. It's a URL that kind of looks legit, but it's clearly not legit. If you click on that, they might say that you have to contribute 50 cents or something along those lines. And as soon as you input your details, they can access your bank account if you put in your bank details. But also maybe they might ask you to download something onto your phone, which could be some sort of spyware that could allow them access to your stuff. Anyway, so just keep your ears and eyes out for that one. It's a text message that comes in purporting to be from the HSC, talking of a COVID variant and looking for your details. Good morning, Greg. Did Milford get the planning permission for public housing? And if so, why wasn't it given out to the public? Don't know what the situation is with public housing or what specific development you're talking of. Cecil says, we have solar panels that were installed 12 years ago. The terminal panels meaning they are hot water only panels. We cannot find anyone to service them. We've tried plumbers and other solar panel companies. They only work with their own. Right, okay. So has anyone out there had the hot water solar panels, and who services them? Now, maybe your company out there will service another contractor's panels The issue here is that presumably whomever fitted these panels for Cecil is not available any longer to service them. So we're looking for someone who services solar panels, the hot water panels, but not the company that installed them, if that makes sense. Just to make sure we get Cecil an answer there if there's one out. 08660 25,000. Right, okay. Ciara Burke is owner of the Sage and Stone Cafe in Duleek. Good morning to you, Ciara.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, just sitting here in my loungewear and my house coat and my
Oh, I'm
slippers.
delighted. But yeah, nobody can see you, though.
Of course. We put this up on our social media to see what the public think, and it seems the vast majority of people agree with you that you were right to put the sign up. So why did you decide to do it?
Well, I didn't put a sign up. I put a post up. I arrived in from dropping the kids to school the other day. Arrived into work around 9:30, and there was two ladies, probably my age, in their 50s, sitting in their pyjamas, dressing gowns and slippers, and their handbags, having their breakfast. Now, the waitress who served them said that they were on the way to the airport to get a flight to New York, right? So I was thinking, oh, right. I said, and they came in their pyjamas. I said, this is ridiculous. Is this country going to a new level now of, So I just said, right, that's it. I'm not going to have it anymore. I'm just going to put up a post on my Facebook page, no pyjamas allowed. And it went viral.
Yeah.
And the reaction has just been incredible, to the tune that I didn't actually engage in the post, but the people were starting to get really nasty to each other. So I just took it down last night because I just didn't think it was fair on some people that were being picked on, whatever. So I just took it down. But my policy remains in place. I'm not having people in their pyjamas coming into my cafe.
But pyjamas are just different types of clothes. You could have work gear, you could have overalls, you could have someone come in a three-piece suite and a top hat.
When you're working, where you're working, if you're up and cleaned and dressed, but if you're in a pyjamas, it just has connotations of, you know what, I'm lazy, I couldn't be bothered, I'm just going to get out, put up my slippers and just walk into the shop or the restaurant or wherever. Now, I've never had it before, so I just was going to nip it in the bud and say, right, well, there's one experience, but I'm not doing it again.
Well, do you think...
I see them all the time going into the local shop in their pyjamas, their slippers, whatever, dropping the kids to school, walking the kids in their buggies to school in pyjamas, and I just think it's dreadful.
But it does. Do you think it would offend other people eating in the cafe, or is it you that's taken offence by their pyjamas?
I think it would offend. Look, I know people who look at people going into do their shopping and are offended, but they wouldn't say anything. So I'm just saying it. I might be saying something that people are all thinking. I've already got phone calls all morning from people all over the country congratulating me for making a stance and saying, we need to just up our game in this country and have standards. Get yourself up, washed, dressed, and out the door. Leave your pyjamas in bed.
Can we afford to be turning away any customers in this day and age? Well, you know, I don't know if you've got your most recent electricity bill, but you know the stories out there. Can we really, I wonder, can we afford to be turning people away in these times, Ciara?
Greg, I just think we need to have standards in this country. I just think that we have, it's not about that. It's about people taking pride in themselves, taking pride in their appearance, and taking pride in the country. And just, we live in one of the luckiest countries in the world. We have pretty much free healthcare, we have free education. People have no idea. If you go into Eastern Europe or into some states in America, they have to pay for everything. We have a pension scheme. We have, we are so lucky compared to so many. And, people just need to cop onto themselves and get up, go to work and get dressed.
Now, come here, just outside of that then, and the majority of people seem to agree with you. And I also think, by the way, Ciara, fair play to you for taking that post down, by the way, because I find I do that sometimes when people start turning on each other, and that's not the spirit of it. It's not about a witch hunt.
Yeah.
Okay, you've made your decision, and you lost a lot of sort of traction in doing so. So fair play to you in doing that. But you talk about spotting a lot of people out walking around in their PJs. Now, I don't see that too much. Is it really something that you would see on a regular basis?
Greg, I don't believe you haven't seen it.
I really genuinely haven't seen anyone outdoors in their pyjamas. Now, maybe it's the time I'm out and about, or maybe it's where I am.
Yeah, maybe
so
it is,
to set the scene for me, Ciara.
Well, actually, Tesco have a no pyjamas policy. Now, why would they have a no pyjamas policy on their front door?
Can I say, Ciara, I'm not doubting it. I'm flabbergasted by it.
Yeah.
I believe you. But I just want to know how widespread it is.
And also, Temple Street and the Children's Hospital and some other hospitals have a no pyjamas policy in their cafes because they don't want, obviously, patients coming down into the cafe. You know, they're obviously getting their own food in their beds, but they don't want people coming in pyjamas. And you know, it's widespread. I'm not the only one.
Yeah, no, I know
I'm not
that.
the only one, and I just think that we have to. Like, it's not about a poverty thing either. It's not about anyone, you know, judging. Like, you can go in and get an outfit in a charity shop, of which there are thousands, for under $5, and if you are in financial difficulty, you would get it for free. So that is not the case. Like, so don't say that. I can't afford nice clothes, whatever. That's rubbish, because my children dress themselves from charity shops.
Yes.
So it's not about the money. It's about slovenliness. It's about laziness, and that's what it's about.
Right, Ciara, listen, thanks for your time this morning. I'm sure you've had plenty
No problem,
of calls.
Greg.
All right, take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ciara Burke, owner of that cafe in Duleek. Sage and Stone now, as I say, on our socials. Most people seem to be agreeing with Ciara. Has anything in that conversation changed your view?
Would you like to win a Hyundai Kona Car? Well, that's the first prize in the St. Eunan's GA Club Development Draw, who are sponsors of this week's 9 till Noon show. There's 9 other great prizes, and tickets are now available online at stunansgadraw.com or any club member.
At Ulster Bank, we are closing. And from the 8th of October, all customers whose accounts have passed the 6-month closure notice period will no longer be able to use their accounts. For our customers making nursing home payments, for themselves or on behalf of a loved one, make sure your payments remain uninterrupted by switching your account now. For more vulnerable customers who need extra assistance, please call our vulnerable customer line on 1800 656 001. Call costs may vary and calls from mobiles may not be free. Ulster Bank Ireland DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
At Hickey, Clark and Langan Insurance Brokers, they compare quotes from all the leading insurers, so you get a great price. Home, motor and van, farm, holiday home, travel and liability insurance, they quote them all. So if the worst happens, you're covered. For a competitive insurance quote today, call Hickey, Clark and Langan on 9126688 or pop into their office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey, Clark and Langan General Insurances Limited, trading as Hickey, Clark and Langan, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Your next move matters, so why not move better? Start your move to permanent TSB today. Apply in-app for our award-winning current account. So don't just move bank, move better. Apply in-app today. Applications for Explore Current Account in-app in sole name for over 18 personal customers. Residents of Republic of Ireland only. Fees and charges, terms and conditions apply. Awarded Bunkers.ie Best Current Account 2022. Permanent TSB PLC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Milford Tiles, wood flooring and bathware. Milford Retail Park now open. Large range of wall and floor tiles on display and in stock. Over 70 different laminate floors to suit every pocket. Tilers and wood fitters available. New bathware showroom now open. Milford Tiles, wood flooring and bathware. 083 091 0707.
The Donegal Senior Football Championship has reached the semi-final stage, and you can follow the action this weekend here on Highland, on air across the Northwest and online at highlandradio.com. The Dr. Maguire Cup holders, St. Eunan's, will play Kilcar on Saturday evening at 8, and Naomh Connell's tie with Gweedore is on Sunday at 4. Both games are live on Highland from McCool Park, Ballybuffet. Highland's championship coverage is with Highland Motors Letterkenny, main Renault dealer in Donegal. The much anticipated new 100% electric, multi-award winning Renault Megane E-Tech is nearly here. With a range of up to 495 kilometres, a test drive is a must. Book yours today.
An important timetable update from TFI Local Link Donegal Sligo Leitrim, route 953 Moville to Letterkenny. Great news from Monday, September 19th. TFI Local Link route 953 Moville to Letterkenny will be extended to Greencastle and will now service locations including Kildaff, Glenealy, Greencastle and Bridgend. Operating up to 3 times per day, 7 days a week. The enhanced route will now provide a new peak time service for students and commuters into Letterkenny, arriving for both 8am and 9am and returning at 5pm, as well as improved connectivity to regional regional bus services for onward travel. For timetables, fares and all route information, see locallinkdsl.ie or call our office on 074 9741 644. TFI Local Link, part of the Transport for Ireland network.
Now, we're delighted to welcome back into the studio, in fact, Brendan Rowan. It's part of our Wellness Wednesday, and we're talking about facing a terminal illness. Brendan, thank you so much for rejoining us. It's great to have you back on the programme.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great to be here.
And the last time we spoke to you, it was in relation to your work with Greg Hughes, and we might touch on that before we finish up, if that's all right.
Yes, because there is a connection between what you essentially want to talk about and what we spoke about
I'll tell
last
you,
time.
you can intertwine it as
Sure.
you see fit, because
Thank you very much.
you are the man. Right, okay, so the last time, it was almost an aside in our last conversation, in that we were focusing on Greg Hughes, and then it was mentioned in passing, and I didn't want to sort of divert from what you came in to talk to us about, the fact that you are terminally ill.
Not quite terminally ill. What I was given was a diagnosis of inoperable cancer.
Okay, so that's my misuse of language.
Well,
Okay.
several people have used that term, but it could amount to the same thing, of course.
We could argue we're all terminally ill as well. At the same
Yes,
time.
indeed.
Okay. Yeah,
indeed,
I get you. Yeah.
indeed.
Okay, and how long is it since you received that news?
On the 7th of September 18, I was diagnosed with inoperable cancer. It was just too late. It had already attached to other organs, so the surgeon said it wasn't safe to operate, and the only thing to try and stem the spread of the cancer was immediate and intense radiation treatment. So I was, within a half an hour, I was downstairs and with the radiation oncologist. Now, that was quite a wonderful experience, because he was a very kind man who looked me directly in the eyes and scientifically discounted all the complementary or alternative treatments that I wanted to consider. So he left me at the end that I was happy then to go with his area of expertise.
And in that conversation, do you ask a question, or is the question or answer offered, well, how long? Or is that an answerable question in that scenario?
Well, immediately then, no. But later on, when looking at the reports, a doctor, and I'm afraid he's a little bit embarrassed about this, but he is incredibly good. He's one of the best doctors I've ever met in my life. But he's a little bit embarrassed that he told me at the time that, look, with modern medications and treatments, you have a 70% chance of 5 years. So I quickly calculated, at best, that's 3.5 years. Wonderful. What an opportunity to get my shit together before the inevitable. And now, that kind of response is very much individual. As I said to your researcher earlier, I spent 20 years in the army teaching people how to respond when they come under fire. Nobody knows how they'll respond. Will they freeze, go to ground, fire back, run away? No one knows until they're in that scenario. And likewise, until you're presented with a diagnosis that I was presented with, or if you like, somebody says terminal, no one knows how they're going to respond.
But many of us spend much of our time considering how we might respond. Had you ever thought about, if you were ever given that type of news, or if you were ever told you were very sick, what you might do?
No, I was far too busy. But
idle minds do the devil's work. So that's my problem. I think.
Well, to be honest, after being denied the sacraments in 1984, which pertained for 25 years, and for the following 10, I just gave up. Going to 7 different priests to see if they would relent, but they didn't. I began in 1986 studying practical philosophy. So I went to this school of practical philosophy and emphasis on the practical. And there I learned some very valuable stuff, not just about looking at the depth and the truth and the beauty within every religion and every faith, including the one that I was born into, but also to look at who we are essentially and about living in the present moment. Because, and now I always attribute this to Michael Collins, that thinking is what causes all the bother, but actually it's something I say myself. But I thought by attributing it to someone like him, people might listen, because if you think about something, you've immediately left the present moment and you've gone to the past or the future, and there's nothing going on
But
there.
how can we control that?
Well, what I learned through the school was to be out of your mind. No, not with drugs or alcohol, but the cheap way, by focusing on the physical senses. So if you can connect with any of the physical senses, you're back in your body, you're out of your mind.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's generally accepted too. I mean, the turn of phrase, I think, is the anticipation of death is worse than death itself. But the anticipation of lots of things are often worse than. So we spend so much time occupying ourselves with what might be the case, or how would I cope, or whatever.
Yes.
And then we are faced with things we feared so much, and something kicks in, we adapt, we actually maybe surprise ourselves sometimes. Sometimes people might go the other way. But all of that wasted thought. I have wasted so much time in my life thinking.
Yes.
Thinking of nonsense, circular thoughts, round and round and round, about things that may or may not ever happen. But so much of my mental capacity has been wasted, and it has been wasted, and I'm fully aware of that, because nothing positive ever really came from it. It's only ever been, and continues to be, negative, and it's linked with anxiety and stuff as well. It's all in that space.
It is,
Brendan.
and
But
that's
it's a waste.
That's where the real torture is, in the thinking, and that's why I say, anytime you're thinking, you're losing this valuable present moment, which actually goes on forever. And what's more important about it is, this is where all the action is, in this present moment.
You talked about your treatment, but you still are also pursuing and have alternative treatments.
Yeah.
Actual physical, or is this the mental side of things?
Well, no. The hormone treatment and the radiation treatment, that went on over a period of 18 months.
Yes.
And by pure chance, at the end of that, I was introduced to a natural healer. And he put me on a very strict regime of fasting and dieting and avoiding certain foods.
And is the idea there not
wheatgrass
to feed the cancer? Is that the logic?
That's
Okay,
exactly it. But he's also a very, very spiritual guy, and so he insisted that I should get well water and bless it, that I should grow my own wheatgrass and bless it through all the stages. And I think something like that also has a psychological effect, and it's bringing you into the present moment and focusing on allowing your body to do the curing. So that went on for another 18 months. So now I've used up 3 of my 3.5 years, and I decided enough of all that, been there, done that. I'm going to live the dream. And when people say to me, how are you doing? I always say, actually, I'm living the dream. Thanks for asking.
So does that mean to say at this point now, I mean, obviously you look after yourself, that's clear. Is that to say that you are not, be it traditional or alternative medicine, you're not engaging anything at the moment? Or when you look after your diet and stuff, I presume?
Well, to some degree, I'm afraid I'm still eating sugary things. I love cakes and that. I remember somebody actually about 6 months ago sent me a copy of a lady's obituary that she wrote 2 weeks before her death, and all I remember from it was she said, eat more dessert, especially before dinner.
So, Brendan, without getting too deep on it, are you ready then?
Oh yeah,
you're ready.
Oh yeah, I mean, for as soon as I started planning and applying to Donegal County Council and failed so far to get permission for my tomb. I had planned my wake. I went to McGee's in Donegal town. I had myself measured for a beautiful 3-piece tailor-made tweed suit for my wake. So it's basically a green, but with lots of flecks of different colours in it.
I know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
A bit of herringbone in it.
No, not herringbone. I think can't remember, a salt and pepper effect. I believe it's called. Yes, speckled.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm beginning to use that now for other purposes because it seems I didn't expire on the 7th of March as planned. But I think part of the reason for that is because I've been so busy with projects like this Red Hugh O'Donnell one. I don't have time for that.
Are you, at this point, did they get it a wee bit wrong in their diagnosis, or are you defying medicine at this point?
No, I was told that years and years ago, because I suffered a back injury, that medicine's not an exact science.
Yeah.
And I think we ourselves can exercise so much control over our own health. I mean, my doctor was so impressed that I reduced my blood pressure tablets by half, by a quarter, and then to none, and then decided to bring it up to quarter again. And in other words, I was testing my own body and doing regular blood pressure tests and everything. And he said, I wish more of my patients would take such an interest in their own health like that.
Yeah. So in terms of then, and not to dwell, because it's clearly not your attitude, do you no longer go for scans or tests or anything like that?
I have a PSA test every 6 months.
Right, okay.
And because of my age, I also have the regular MOT. So I'm very well monitored and taken care of within the medical system. I'm very grateful for that. I think it's fabulous in this country, and fair play to all the people who are involved and devoted to that.
So how did you... I'm trying to figure out, and I think I kind of have, how much of you is now, as a result of that conversation, and how much of you brought into that conversation, about when you were given your diagnoses. I think your time in the army and your general attitude, the foundations of who you are now was there anyway. And you were tooled up really to deal with this as well as you have been dealing with it.
Yes, I think I would credit more of that to my early years as a practicing Roman Catholic, and which has happened again. It's amazing what has happened actually in the last year or so in that respect. But I would attribute a lot of it to practicing the lessons that were given out to us in the School of Philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
That school of practice, those practical lessons actually, they really bring to light and helped us to answer the question, who are we? Why are we here? What's our role in life? So the way I look at it now is, this is a play. I mean, it looks real. It's very convincing, but actually anything that you can observe that is changing philosophically is not real. What's real is the observer of the change. So if I can observe my body, my mind, my nature, my emotional ground changing, then I cannot be those things. Yeah. So I don't die. It's my body that will die. And the way I put it is, when the director of this play decides it's time, my role's finished, then I go back to the audience and I join my ancestors and all those other people.
And there's groups like, we may care or not greatly about ourselves. There will be relatively, compared to the global population, a small amount of people that might care, but might get over things quite quickly. And to 99 to infinity 0.9% of the world population, we're really quite insignificant.
Yeah, I think I've been exceptionally lucky, but maybe it's in believing that or feeling that.
May I ask, if you don't mind?
Yes, sure.
If you, and I know listeners will be interested about this, you talked about sort of returning to your Roman Catholic faith a year ago.
Yes.
Is there an event, something that happened that drew you back?
Well, it was accidental in a way. I was walking the dog in Ards Forest in the darkness of winter. It was the 25th of November 18, and I heard the car doors closing and happy banter and people are going to Mass, and I remembered how nice that was, but it has nothing to do with me anymore. And as I put the dog in the car, I realised, maybe I should go in and pray for Scouting Ireland, which was in so much trouble at the time. Well, still is, but and when I went in, I was just really taken aback by this celebrant who came out onto the altar, and he had I remember a black beard and a long white beard. He was younger, I think, than most of the other guys there, but turned out he was the boss, he was the guardian. And when I heard him read the gospel and then explain that afterwards, I thought, wow, this guy he's not only committed to this, he actually lives this stuff. I was really impressed. And then as he passed blessing people's sacred object, and I couldn't find the little woven cross in my pocket, so the only thing I had was this bracelet, which is Hindu and has a Sanskrit inscription on it. But after he had passed by blessing all these things, I realised that on my cap badge I had the Scouting Ireland badge.
Okay.
So I decided to go into him in the sacristy after Mass, and I said, "Excuse me, Father, I'm not your father." He said, "Brother." I said, "Okay, brother." And he was such an impressive man. And I said, "Do you know anything about Scouting?" "No." I said, "Do you realise there's a lot of controversy and the organisation's a bit of trouble?" "Yes, I've read that." I said, "Look, this is the Scouting Ireland cap badge. Would you bless it for me?" And he looked at it and he said, "The fleur-de-lis, the lily among the thorns." And he blessed it that through Our Lady's intercession would bring the purity back to Scouting Ireland. And I felt, I have a role.
Your religious relationship with Ards continues?
Oh, yeah. I haven't missed Mass since then. And I do the readings at Ards every second Sunday. And I really love it. It's like being back again to childhood pursuits.
I get a feeling you give it respectful welly.
Yeah, well, I really listen, and I also listen to the words that I'm saying, and by forcing myself to the altar to do the readings, I have to really hear what it is that I'm listening. So I'm deriving huge benefit from it, and being allowed to receive the host again, of course, is for me phenomenal.
Yeah, lovely. On the 30th of October, there'll be a 420th birthday celebration in Lifford for a Rua. You're going to be there.
The 50th, actually, it's the 450th anniversary of his birth. So Eddie Crawford, who was one of our committee for the 420 celebration, he's now putting together a whole programme for that. And I think it'll be well worth attending. And I will hope that people in the area will. I think they will have, as a result of the publicity we got around what we did in Valladolid, which really was phenomenal. We did it on a shoestring. The amount of commitment.
Has that event happened, that reconstruction? Has that happened yet? Not reconstruction, but
yeah.
We were talking about how... has that passed now? That happened?
It happened the weekend before last.
Oh,
yes.
Superb.
And I sent in, I don't know if you got these photographs.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so I can show them to you now in a second.
Did you attended?
Oh, of course,
Excellent.
yes. And I was allowed a bit of free rein with designing the playlet, which would be the reenactment of his death in Simancas Castle. So here we were in exactly the place where he died on exactly the day of the 420th anniversary of his passing. So what I did was set up a table. I had borrowed 3 sets of Capuchin friars' robes from Ards Friary, and I had 3 people dressed as Franciscans, because we do know who was around his deathbed at the time that he signed his will, which was immediately before he passed away. So here he was, the guy who's laid out, who's a retired Garda living in Spain, in the robes, and the lawyer, who was actually a local judge, dressed for the part in period clothing, leaning over him with this parchment with a big seal and a ribbon on it, and a feather pen. And of course, as Red Hugh signs his name, of course he only got to sign OD, and then he passed away, but it was still a valid will. And then at that point the doctor checks and finds that there's no pulse, and he indicates to the priest, and then this guy dressed as a Capuchin recites the prayers for the dead in Latin, as it would have been at the time. And then in the background you begin to hear very faintly O'Donnell Abu.
Did you feel it perfect?
I beg your pardon?
Did you feel it perfect? You've dedicated a lot of your time. Did you feel it was perfect, what you managed to achieve?
It wasn't as I had planned it, but it was perfect nonetheless.
Excellent.
Because of the commitment of everybody that was involved in it and the receptiveness of the people who were there.
Lovely.
It really went very well. And then, of course, that was the Saturday. The Monday then was the actual unveiling of the plaque, which was a great honour to be there. And it was a particular honour for the people there. They said that our Minister for Defence responded positively to my request to send a designated officer. So we had an Irish Army commandant in full uniform with his medals present for the unveiling of the plaque.
And there's a letter from Simon Coveney which we're going to reproduce on the website for people
Thank you.
interested
Yes.
in seeing that.
Yes.
Okay. And we'll talk, I'm sure as the 30th of October approaches, we'll mention this again. In the last minute we have, is there anything you want to add, Brendan?
I would just say to anybody, please, try to focus on your physical senses anytime you're in any trouble. Learn meditation. I mean, you could do that particularly in the School of Philosophy, but there are other ways of learning it as well. And if you live in the present moment, you will enjoy life to the full. And that's really why we're here.
Inspirational. Brendan, listen, thanks so much for joining us again. It's been lovely having you in, and delighted that you continue to do well, and long may that continue. All right, that's Brendan Rowan.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more. In fact, Kieran will be joining us after the break.
The 9 till noon show with St Eunan's GA Club Development Draw. €40,000 in prizes. First prize, a Hyundai Kona Car, plus 9 other great prizes. Tickets now available online at steunans.gadraw.com or any club member.
Want unbeatable value from Sky? Here's the deal. Get Sky Broadband for just €29 a month, plus Sky Q for only €10 a month. Super fast, super reliable broadband. And Sky Q with your apps and recordings. That's Sky Broadband for €29 a month, plus Sky Q for €10 a month for 12 months. Now that is unbeatable value. Go to sky.ie. Availability subject to location. Offer does not include Sky TV subscription. New Sky customers only. Setup fees, minimum term and further terms apply. For more info, see sky.ie/speeds.
If you need something stored, Secure Storage in Letterkenny have over 120 internal units available. Maybe it's extra space for personal belongings or storage for your business. Secure Storage have everything from small wardrobe-sized lockers to garden shed-sized rooms, right up to garage-sized units and large commercial storage depots, all available to rent on a short or long-term basis. Whatever you need stored, big or small, Secure Storage at Kiltoy, Letterkenny have the solution. See securestorage.lk.ie.
Patterson's The Hall, Lifford, one of Ireland's largest kitchen and interior showrooms. Open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Kitchens, beds, mattresses and furniture all under one roof. 50% off our X-Display kitchens. Everything you need to make a house a home. At Patterson's Kitchens and Interiors, The Hall, Lifford.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Lotto jackpot is an estimated €7 million. Play responsibly, in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
Are you interested in returning to education? ATU Donegal's Certificate in Access Studies for Higher Education is a free course available for adult learners, early school leavers, or those who have never had access to educational opportunities before and want to kickstart their third level education. The closing date is the 23rd of September. For more information, visit atu.ie/access-Donegal.
If you're in business and you need to accept card payments, An Post offer the best value in card payment solutions, saving Irish businesses on average 25% on current costs. It's fast and easy to set up or switch. Your money hits your account the next day. Call An Post on 1-800-300-150 or email cardpayments@anpost.ie and start accepting card payments today.
Business Matters in association with the Faculty of Business at ATU Donegal. Looking for a career in financial services? Consider the Level 9 MA in Governance and IT in Financial Services. Take the next step in your career and contact the Exec Ed Coordinator on 9186206 or email execed@atu.ie today.
Okay, go right to our website right now if you want. Well, a little later because I don't want to lose anyone. Because the latest Business Matters podcast is available right now in our listen back section of the website or available for you on where you usually get your podcasts. We'll talk about what's coming up in the podcast with its presenter, Kieran O'Donnell, who I welcome into the programme now. But what we'll do is get a bit of news as usual. Good morning to you. How are you getting on, Kieran?
Good, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Right, okay, let's get to some news. The Tip O'Neill Irish Diaspora Awards are coming up very shortly, aren't they?
They are indeed, and Pettico native Maya Doherty is one of the awardees for the Tip O'Neill Irish Diaspora Awards that you mentioned there, Greg, and they are taking place this Friday, September the 23rd in the Inishowen Gateway Hotel in Buncrana, and those awards are part of the Donegal Connect Festival series. So, founding director of Tyrone Productions and co-founder of Riverdance with her husband John McColgan, Maya Doherty was also Donegal Person of the Year and in 2015.
All right, brilliant. Well-deserved recognition. Didn't make the Pettigo connection before, and it's good to see those awards really have become an annual event now. Hugely successful. Right, okay, some cash going into the council coffers from parking charges.
Yeah. Pay parking's paying off for the council, Greg. Donegal County Council generated almost €400,000 through pay parking in the first 6 months of this year, with Letterkenny bringing in the most income. So these figures were obtained by the Donegal News, and they show that 398,000 was generated through pay parking across 6 areas of the county up until the end of June of this year. And Letterkenny was the council's top earner, taking in 118,000 in addition to the 188,000 it collected for the 12 months of 2021.
Right.
So
I suppose the breakdown there would be interesting between the app and people putting the money in the machines.
Yeah, and the other thing I suppose that you can see there, COVID, I think there was a wee bit of leniency there. So much more has come on in the first 6 months of this year, even compared to last year.
Okay.
It's proportionally, it's up.
Good stuff. Acorn's programme, if you're interested, time's of the essence.
Yeah, we had Larissa Finney on the programme a few weeks ago, Greg, talking about this programme. So it's the last call for the programme. The deadline for applications is for the state-funded initiative that encourages female entrepreneurs in rural Ireland to develop their business ideas is Friday, September the 23rd. Acorns 8 will run from October 2022 to April 2023. And for more information, log on to Acorns' website at simply acorns.ie.
All right, the latest round of CLA funding recipients have been announced too, Kieran.
Yeah, and 4 Donegal projects are to receive a combined total of €190,000 under that funding. They are Ross's Park Community Walk on the Low, Ardra GA Club, Moville Green Car Park, and Pobble Escara Resource Centre in Falcara. And the range of projects are being developed will benefit people of all ages.
Yeah, now we mentioned, a lot of the giveaways in the budget are going to be chewed up by inflation. One of our, much of it even just in one area, grocery inflation. What's the figures telling us?
Yeah, I suppose, look, we've heard so much, Greg, about price increases, the cost of living, and I suppose when you see it down in black and white, it gives a lot of clarity, I think, and that's why I'm going to allude to it here. The latest figures show that grocery price inflation rose 11% in the 12 weeks to September the 4th, and that's the highest level since consultants Kantar began tracking grocery price inflation in May 2008. So according to Kantar, the average annual grocery bill could go from €6,985 to €7,753 this year. That's an increase of €768 in the year, or €15 a week. So just in terms of price increases, bread is up 20%, ham 12%, milk 26%, and yogurt 17%.
Still waiting on someone to explain to me how milk's gone up 26%, yep. But anyway, because that is something we manufacture here. Okay, we're going to find out who the guest on this week's podcast is after the quick break.
Would you like to win a Hyundai Kona Car? Well, that's the first prize in the St. Eunan's GA Club Development Draw, who are sponsors of this week's 9 till Noon show. There's 9 other great prizes, and tickets are now available online at steunensgadraw.com or any club member.
In Aldi, a 9-pack of luxury toilet tissue costs only €3.99. And in Super Value, a 9-pack of luxury toilet tissue costs €4.99. Just saying. And swapping to Aldi could save you over €77 on your big family shop compared to Super Value. Now there's something to bear in mind. Comparing own label or equivalent brands, lowest pro rata used. Check 22nd of the 8th, 2022, excluding offers. Products and prices may vary. Details aldi.ie/swap.
Donegal Texel sheep breeders are holding a sale of 100 rams in Rafo Livestock Mart this Friday the 23rd of September. Show at 5:30 and sale at 7 p.m. That's this Friday evening at Rafo Mart.
Fleet owners, Cargo Defenders is your one-stop supplier for all your vehicle technology, including GPS vehicle tracking, remote tachograph downloading solutions, dash cams or 4G multi-camera systems. For more information, call Cargo Defenders on 074 9710 110 or visit cargodefenders.ie.
Hello, how can I help you?
I'm looking to claim on my insurance policy.
Okay, and what type of chip do you need to claim for?
It's not a chip. I was in a minor accident.
And was your windscreen chipped in this accident?
No, it's just my backlight and the bumper.
So your windscreen is not chipped?
No.
Unfortunately, our policies only cover chips.
Do you get the feeling that you're not getting the right cover? Well, at Local Insurance, we are Irish owned and understand your needs. Call us today for a bespoke quote on 0818 894 444. Local Insurance, we'll get you sorted. The Local Insurance Network, DAC Trading's Local Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Local Insurance is a tied insurance intermediary of Acorn Brokerage Limited. Acorn Brokerage Limited, trading as Acorn Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Farmers, you're built different. One step after the other, you don't see the rewards for months or years. That's life on the farm. Or you could say, that's life in rehab. When you're learning to walk after a machinery injury, one step after the other, you don't see the rewards for months or years. Just because you've the strength to see you through rehab, it doesn't mean you should have to. Farmers, always take care around machinery. From the Health and Safety Authority, visit hsa.ie/farm safety.
All right, we're still chatting to Kieran O'Donnell, the presenter of Highland Radio's Business Matters podcast, and we're going to talk about what's actually coming up on the podcast this week, Kieran.
Yes, Greg, my guest this week is Lorcan Rorty, owner of Rose's Bar and owner of the Wild Atlantic Camp, which are both located in the village of Creeslough. A quantity surveyor by profession, Lorcan bought the bar when he returned from a spell in the US in 2004 and has plans to further expand the Wild Atlantic Camp, which opened in 2013 with 6 glamping pods and 12 motorhome bays. During our conversation, I asked Lorcan, when did the idea to set up Wild Atlantic Camp first come about?
I moved back in 2004 from the States, purchasing Rose's Bar, and it was my intention, I suppose I had this vision that Rose's Bar was going to be able to sustain me around Creeslough and whatnot. Unfortunately, through circumstances, that wasn't the case, and I continued with my consultancy work. But I suppose, really, as I say, the bar would have took a bit of a hit during the downturn and whatnot, but was just looking at different opportunities, what could be done to kind of support the bar and make it a bit more sustainable. So it was really, I suppose, it was really that triggered the Wild Atlantic Camp. I was originally considering like stag parties, hen parties coming here and whatnot. They would fall up onto the bar at night time, but I suppose it's really, that was the intention at the outset, and we're very much so a family orientated site now, and it's I would say 90% of our custom is family orientated, and as opposed to the hens and stags and stuff. So no, and I must say it has supported the bar quite well.
Yeah, I've supported the bar quite well myself. Stayed there a few times with my late sister, down at the Atlantic Camp, and obviously spending some time in Creeslough. Some really, really great memories that will stay with me. But it's great to see it and it expanding in the season, broadening out as well, Kieran, it seems. And the glamping and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's good to see a business growing, particularly in our smaller towns. No disrespect to Creeslough.
Yeah, and I suppose the one thing Lorcan did note as well, he obviously spoke at length about his own business, but he also took time to talk about the other businesses that have popped up in Creeslough. And I suppose Creeslough is undergoing a bit of a resurgence again, having, I suppose, not gone through the best of periods, but the way where Creeslough is located, it's very close by to the likes of Glenveigh, Ards, Doe Castle,
but it's
Hornhead.
competing with Downings,
Yeah,
with
it's there, but
Dunfanaghy, so it has to find its own
very
sort
much.
of niche.
And I suppose what Lorcan said, his initial intention when he came back from America was to be a publican and for that to sustain himself. That wasn't going to be the case. The family had 15 acres of land, which initially accommodated a pitch and putt course and the Red Roof restaurant, and it was then he decided to develop that property. At the height of the tourist season, Greg, he employs 30 people, and while it's not seasonal only, it's all year round. His business has managed to sustain 10 full-time jobs in Creeslough, which is great. So Creeslough is going well. I have a vested in Creeslough because my mother's from down there, so I have good memories of Creeslough like yourself.
Have you ever seen one of those glamping pods? I've never done that, but I think that's one of the things that it's not. I wouldn't go as far as say bucket list.
Well, sure, why not? Stick it on.
Maybe a parachute jump or something, but no.
So, and Lorcan has plans to further develop the facilities down there as well, and it's a really great
strength to strength. So you've a good long. We only play a short clip there. You've a good long chat.
About 40 minutes.
So you can get into the ins and outs.
Yeah.
So we get to hear the whole,
He's a busy man too. Himself and his wife have 4 young children, so it's a busy house.
Yeah. And they're all tight enough in age too.
Yeah, 4 under 10.
One's bad enough, Kieran. Oh, fair play to them. They're doing brilliant work, and it's great to see it. And it's just one of a number of, as you say, emerging and growing businesses in the Creeslough area. Okay, so the podcasting for that good long chat there is available now on our website. It's in the on-demand section there of the website, highlandradio.com. It'll also be in the featured section a little after 12. Kieran, if people want to contact you, how do they do so?
Yeah, just drop me an email, please, Greg, businessmatters@highlandradio.com.
And if people want to hear it scheduled on the radio, it's still on after the 6
Yeah,
o'clock news.
after 6 o'clock news on Sunday evening.
All right, then. Thanks, Kieran. Appreciate it.
Before I
ahead.
go, Ollie Harvey texts me to make sure to mention the draw. I know
Oh,
St. Eunan's. I know they were on with you yesterday, but he says make sure you mention the draw. So
All
there
right.
you are.
Over half the tickets gone now.
Yes.
If you sell, if
Yeah, the two big hitters on here yesterday, Ollie and John.
One thing, it wasn't even a wee bit intimidating.
Would say that day.
John's only a slight wee fella
Yeah,
too, isn't he?
big man, John. Hey,
Okay.
he'll keep you in check.
I'd say you could still put in a tackle too, a tight tackle. All right, listen, thanks very much for that, Kieran.
Lovely, Greg. Thanks a
All
million.
right, we're going to leave you now. Back with you tomorrow morning at 9. We're going to play out, obviously, with another plug for the St. Eunan's GEA Club draw. Stay tuned. John Bresson's coming up around the northwest after 12.
Would you like to win a Hyundai Kona Car? Well, that's the first prize in the St. Eunan's GA Club Development Draw, who are sponsors of this week's 9 till noon show. There's 9 other great prizes, and tickets are now available online at steunan'sgadraw.com or any club member.
Thinking of hiring a locksmith? Or do you provide locksmith services? Did you know that locksmiths must hold a PSA license issued by the Private Security Authority? Locksmiths who operate without a license, and anyone employing one, is breaking the law and could face prosecution and fines. For more information on how to get a license or to report an unlicensed locksmith, visit psa-gov.ie. Issued by the Private Security Authority, the security regulator.
Brian McCormick, Sports and Leisure, your football specialist. Multi-buy discounts on footballs from Mitre, Adidas and O'Neill.